So 2 illegals have been arrested for stealing Kristi Noem's purse at a restaurant. The 2 suspects are in custody, and the restaurant is now taking applications for dishwasher and busboy. The White House placed yard signs with mugshots of illegals they've arrested and crimes they committed. The move was criticized by Democrats and landscapers. Illegal immigrants complained that now they will have to mow around themselves. Hundreds of DEA agents raided an underground nightclub in Colorado. Agents allegedly found drug use, prostitution, and my missing turtleneck.
Want to get it off your chest? You're in the right place. They accuse this show of being run by boobs. Well, let me tell you about us boobs. We're real and we're spectacular. Want politics and fun sprinkled with a lot of laughs? Heard in every state in the Union and 1,000 cities around the world. We just finished 16 years of broadcast excellence, now in our 17th year. The Dave Weinbaum Show is streaming live all over the world. GOP is going to solidify its all big, all-in-one bill, which includes needed tax cuts. Dems have no leaders, and not only screaming and impeaching Trump, but swearing at each other. Waltz is out as NSA, and yet in one day he is announced as the UN ambassador from America. The rest of the administration are solid, but Trump is the ultimate hiring and firing president, as he was in business. So all will be on their toes. And finally, Trump versus Zelensky has a deal for Ukraine special minerals, and now the deal is letting Ukraine and Putin end the war. That's a tough one. He's going to have trouble with Putin, that's for sure. Finally, China is willing to negotiate after a show of bravado, and Japan, South Korea, and India, and others are eager to sign. The stock market is mixed, yet if you bought some on the low extremes, you're probably encouraged by the overall upward trend. Yet, one of the most interesting and talked about scandals are Bill Torn Shirts Belichick, 73 years old, and his 24-year-old lover, Jordan, has a whole sports world in a tizzy. Other than the 49-year difference, the greatest football coach has the challenge of his lovers controlling his interviews to the extent of stopping and redirecting these wild speculations like, where did you first meet? Apparently, that is a nuclear secret to Ms. Hudson. Part of Bill's new job as North Carolina's football team coach is to recruit 16 to 18-year-old studs out of high school and excite them with future college ball and maybe even unexpected, getting to the NFL. And this may cause, if he brings Ms. Hudson to these interviews, an unexpected sudden growth in other parts of their bodies. What do you think? Wonder if he'll bring Jordan to these interviews.
This week, Kamala Harris will give her first public remarks since leaving office in January. And to prepare, she's been working with two new speechwriters named Gray and Goose. Harris will be speaking at an event that trains women to run for office as Democrats. According to Kamala, step one is writing a great concession speech.
Okay, we're here. I'm with my lovely bride, Lisa Ann Weinbaum. Good morning, darling.
Good morning.
And
I think
Yes.
I was on time.
huh?
I think I was on time.
You were on time.
Okay.
I'm very proud of you.
Okay.
I'll give you a little star
Okay.
later on, all right?
Okay.
You also dropped your Kleenex there. And my great producer over here, JP Maxwell.
Good
who
morning,
is
everybody.
Aided by our other producer, that would be Rick Henderson out there in Salem, friend of Rico Camino. And we got a great show for you today. And we let me see who I got. Well, we've got the rabbi on at 8:40. JJ is going to be on first. JJ Bradshaw, he's going to be on at 8:10, and then we have Chris Adamo, I think, and then we have the great McCloskeys, Mark and Pat, and the gentleman who is a lot of different things, including a chicken farmer. That would be our friend Don Mayhew. So we got a great crew coming up. And just before we get to other things, Trump plays. He's a golfer. He likes to play golf. He squeezes these golf matches in, and it seems like he is either golfing or working every single moment of every single day. And here we are with NFL star Saquon Barkley, Gesundheit. And he's out there playing golf with Trump, and everybody in the dumb community is having a fit because this black man who is a great football player. And by the way, I watched him real close. Not only is he a great runner, but this guy, when he doesn't have the ball, he goes out and knocks people down left and right, all the way down the field. He hustles on every play. This is the best, possibly the best of all combinations that you can have as a running back.
Unfortunately for me, he was key in the Eagles beating my Chiefs in the Super Bowl as well.
Hey,
so, yep.
You know what? But you got to call it
He
like it
definitely
is.
played the part. So
they outplayed him, and the Chiefs were outplayed. And,
Yep.
and Chiefs had
in every aspect of the word.
I mean, look at how many they've won 3 Super Bowls, haven't they, or 2? 3?
3 in 5 years.
Yeah, I mean
something like
that's
that.
Not bad at all.
If I could bring in some local golf news here real quick, because
Yes, go. Let's
so
hear it.
I had Coach Anthony Monaco on my show this last week, who is the head coach of the S&T golf team. He took over
Yeah.
for Chad Green, who
Sure.
was a friend of the show and all that, and had a very tough job. This was a golf program who was near extinction 5-6 years ago. They don't have
Yeah.
a golf course on the campus anymore. They just won their first ever conference championship last week, and now they're heading back to represent S&T in the Division II March Madness golf tournament, trying to win nationals. That's going to start this upcoming next week.
Just
Yep.
great.
Yep.
And later on, you're going to have some news about our old friend Chad, and we're not going to talk about it here yet because it's not public news. Except
Apparently, I don't even know. So
It is public.
it is public.
Yeah.
Well, guess who's coming back to Oak Meadow Country Club?
The club put that out, that they had hired him back.
Yeah, Oak Meadow Country Club is now going to have the benefit of having the old coach of S&T, Chad Green,
really,
as the head of Oak Meadow Country Club.
really,
Yeah, how about
I had
that?
not heard
Well,
that.
there's news for you.
That's a scoop
And
on the
he's
show.
he's a great coach, and he's a great.
Yep.
He gives great lessons. My wife will look forward to that, I'm sure.
He was great on my
As I
show,
will.
and
Yeah.
so he decided to leave coaching and come back to Raw. That's
Well,
wow.
we'll have to get both of those guys in because the
Yeah.
coach at the new coach
Yep.
out there at S&T, he's no slouch.
Nope.
This guy, he's very good.
Nope.
So
It was a lot of work to take over for Chad, because Chad did a great job, and Coach Monaco, they haven't missed a beat since he took over. So
as I
yeah.
like to say, golf is the whole thing. All right. So, where's JJ? Oh,
I'm expecting him any second now.
yeah. Okay. All right. So, anyways, let's go on to another thing. Trump has just brought back Columbus Day, which was killed by the Democrats. Okay, and and now the Gulf of Mexico is the Gulf of America. And speaking of which, look at that young looking 256-year-old face looking at me. All right. This man was born around the Revolutionary time, and he used to hang out with Ben Franklin and Thomas Jefferson, George Washington, pick up tavern girls out there in Virginia, pioneer women, and now he's an expert on that same Constitution that he probably had time to fill in some of the subjects there. Please welcome all the way from Rolla, Missouri, my good friend John Jeffrey Bradshaw.
Good morning,
Hey
Dave.
Jay, how are you?
I'm just doing great, Dave.
You always look dapper, but the last week and this week you look like things are better.
Things are good. Life
Yeah.
is good. I get to come on your show and gripe every Friday. I think that's might be the high point of my week. You just
Well,
never
you know
know.
what? That's better than griping at the wife, isn't it?
That's right. I treat
Yeah.
her like a queen.
There you
Say,
go.
there's been so much stuff going on this week, and I think the top of the list ought to be the Ukrainian minerals deal. Now, many of your listeners will probably say, "My God, that's contractual stuff. That's boring as hell. Why are you even bringing that up?" Well, strategically, this is a big deal. Trump has penned a deal with the Ukraine that the United States will get priority of Ukrainian minerals, some of those fairly rare, and many of those we import from China.
Yeah.
Now, after 6 months or a year of gearing up for this thing, we can kind of cut China off for some of those rare earth minerals, which is a good thing. But Trump, he's way beyond anybody else as far as negotiating. What does this do to Putin?
Exactly.
Well, now that we will have a strong contractual agreement with the sovereign country of Ukraine, it pretty much puts a shoe in the door as far as Putin is concerned. Now that we have serious interests in that country as far as minerals are concerned, Putin might be a little less likely to want to further invade, and it may make him more likely to sue for peace, I think. And I think
Well,
Trump.
he's talking about going right ahead and and conquering Ukraine.
I think he's going to have a little problem.
Well, he ought to, yeah.
Yeah. Well, if you
With who?
recall, our weak and foolish executive branch of previous gave away Crimea,
Yeah.
and our foolish president Joe Biden said, "Well, if you only invade Ukraine a little bit, it'll probably be
That's
okay."
right.
You
Before
remember
the
that
war.
crap?
Before the war, he said that.
Yeah. The man's a fool. So Putin was given the green light by the Obamas and the Bidens to go ahead and invade Ukraine with impunity, and he did so. Now that we've got some business interests in Ukraine, and Dave, this is a big deal business interest. We're talking billions and billions of dollars, and this is one of the ways we get paid back for supplying arms to them over all this time in the war. So when I read the summary, and I haven't read the whole deal, okay, it's 1,000 pages, but I read the executive summary of it and said, this guy has negotiated a pretty damn good deal. Certainly beneficial to the United States, certainly different than Barack Obama's apology tour or Joe Biden's go ahead and invade tour. We're actually showing Putin some strength. And I'm sure behind the scenes, there are words being said like, if you decide to pursue this war any further, we may get more involved in it. And you really won't like
they're
that.
automatically going to be more involved in it because they're going to have Americans mining this stuff.
How about that, Dave? And when you when you cause our civilian mining people grief, I think we're going to get back at you.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's a pretty good deal. I think Trump, he's done it again.
Well, he's got
you
all
have
these
to
other
find out
countries
what-
ready to go. India, Japan, South Korea.
Well, there's a lot going on there, Dave. That entire Pacific Rim is at risk from the Chinese and from the Russians. And I think he's doing a pretty good job in saving that. So good for him. Dave, am I breaking up on your end?
Yeah, something's happening. I don't know. We just had a train go by. Let's blame it on the train.
Yeah, I think JJ, I think it's something with your signal, unfortunately.
With his
Stand by.
signal? All right, go ahead. Okay.
Let's do this different here.
Why am I looking at myself? Oh my God, I sound terrible.
All right, let's try this. Just a little better.
Oh, that's much better.
Some days my laptop comes through just fine. Some days my cell phone comes through just fine. I may be cursed.
Or they're so afraid of you that they're messing with you somewhere.
Some of that shadow banning, I know they did that to you. I didn't know I was popular enough to have
She had to leave
that.
the country a couple weeks ago. She had to leave the country. I can't tell you where she went.
Oh, goodness.
Probably know already, but she might be.
Since we talked about Trump, what do you say we talk about James Carville for a minute?
Oh,
the man is enormously entertaining to me, and James, and I monitor what the guy says. Now he's a left-wing lunatic. There's no doubt in my mind, but the guy is pretty sharp, and him and David Hogg been going at it.
Oh yeah, I saw that.
Those are the folks that are in Beulah, Missouri. David Hogg is co-chair of the DNC. And what a bad choice that was. Well, David Hogg gathered up about $20 million, and he said he's going to primary the Dinos, which is Democrats in name only, and put some of his leftist buddies in there. The Democrat Party has been in lockstep for decades. And to have somebody co-chair, now this is high up in the pecking order there.
How the hell did he get that? Who voted for him?
It might have been some sexual thing. I couldn't say.
Sexual?
The point is, though, that James Carville, who is a pretty good spokesman for the more or less mainstream Democrats, and I quote, said, "This is jackassery at the highest level," end quote.
Yeah.
He also said a whole bunch of other things, including the F-bomb about a dozen times. It's always fun to listen to this guy. Maybe I'll learn some new cuss words. I don't know.
He's clever, but he's stupid. Clever is one thing. Stupid another. He's stupid. What are you talking about?
Hogg has made a career out of being a victim of a school shooting.
That's right.
And he's grown up. He's 25 years old now. He's risen quickly through the Democrat Party. And now the Democrat Party is looking to, what are we going to do with this guy? How can we quietly get rid of him and not look stupid in the process? And Carville is telling it like it is. As he said, jackassery of the highest level. That is high praise from James Carville. So, David Hogg, I think your time at head of the Democratic Party is probably going to be kind of short.
Here's the last thing I saw of both of them, and that is Hogg saying, "How are you going to find? How are you going to change the course of this?" And Carville screams at him, "By winning elections, you dumbass." All right.
Carville said another quote. I can't quote it exactly because I didn't write it down, but he said, "I'm in the business of defeating Republicans.
Yeah.
And I'm not in the business of supporting people who intend to defeat Democrats." Well, James, that possibly is one of the most sane things you've said in months. I'm afraid David your time as co-chair of DNC is going to be kind of short. They're going to boot your dumbass
Well,
out.
where's he going to
I'm
go? I mean,
sure.
he's going to be he's going to have a certain leadership that's going to be an independent leadership that's going to drag lefties out of the Democratic Party for wherever
Well,
he's
how about that?
going.
Talk about a poison pill in a 25-year-old male. Good job. I think it's great.
I think it's great for the Republicans. Thus far, there is no sign of anybody being a leader in that party. That includes
Yeah.
James Carville and the rest of them. They're all screaming at each other.
You know, the Dems have always had somebody, I mean, traditionally, in the background, waiting at the edge of the stage to take charge, and they have nobody now.
Not even Mooch.
You look at their
Mooch might get up there, but
runners, the folks from the squad. I mean,
Yeah.
AOC, Kamala Harris. Are any of these people that show any kind of leadership at all?
Crockett.
Yeah,
And
there's
she's
a
talking about-
loser for you, Dave.
How we going? Why are we getting upset? We're, other countries are we're sending people to other countries just like they're doing to us. In other words, she forgets that they are criminal aliens here that we're sending back to their home countries.
Let's face it, Jasmine Crockett has got a room temperature IQ on her best day, and she opens her mouth and an awful lot of stupid falls out of it. And this is a leader in the Democrat Party? Please.
And AOC is the same stupidness. She can, she's a good speaker, by the way. She's a very good actress. However, the things she says are so totally wrong and stupid that, all you got to do is hold 5 things of these up and say, we can't have her. She's an idiot.
Yeah, she is.
Okay. But, give her a speech to do and she can do a pretty good job. Or give her a bar to tender and she'll get people drunk.
Looks like our buddy Letitia James is this thing is, the legal system runs kind of slowly. Okay, well, that's a given, but looks like she is going to be prosecuted. Looks like charges are going to be filed against her for doing the same thing that she prosecuted Donald J. Trump for. I mean, almost identical. Real estate fraud. She got after him because he overvalued some properties, which, by the way, the banks that made the loans on those properties were very happy about the whole thing. They got paid.
$18 million for Mar-a-Lago. I want that deal.
Yeah, I'll go in halvesies with you on that thing. Hell yes.
Hell yeah.
It just amazes me. And Letitia James is not the only one that this thing is ultimately coming back to bite them. Good. This is a woman that needs to be disbarred, in my opinion. Whether New York State would actually do that or not, I guess we'll find out, won't we? I'm a patient story guy. I'll wait.
Is this I wonder if this is a federal crime or not. If it's a federal crime, it might have a chance of going somewhere.
Yeah. Yeah. With our
out of New York State, otherwise it's moot.
Say our buddy Joe Biden, his curse just keeps on giving. If you remember, the Environmental Protection Agency way overstepped their bounds in demanding efficiency standards for appliances. Remember the low flow shower head that you
remember that
you couldn't take a decent
buried
shower.
in our backyard.
No, we have them in our house.
We do, except for that one.
Because of California, we could no longer get shower.
Yeah, we're going to change that if we can. We're going to change it. That's
actually give me a call because I can tell you how to bypass that crap.
Oh, good.
I drove mine out a long time ago.
Newsom, are you listening?
Some other Bidenisms. You recall the washing machine standards where we wash our clothes in a cup and a half of water and they don't get clean. And the washing machines that ultimately have mold inside of them because of the lack of flow.
Do we have that?
No.
Okay.
Well, all of this came out of Obama and Biden. And
it
was
no gas ovens.
No natural gas in new construction. All of this crap came out of them. They're radical left loonies.
And Obama.
And the Congress just voted 52 to 46 to overturn that stuff.
Good.
Whether it applies to the Senate or not, I couldn't say. But it's about time, because those of us who are consumers say, I don't mind a few gallons more water if I can actually get clean.
Sure.
I don't mind a few more gallons of water if I can get my clothes clean. I don't mind a water heater that takes a little more gas to heat up. I don't mind. I can afford that.
Nobody
And it
cares
offends
about.
me
You're
that
right.
you
Nobody
shove that down
these
my
days.
throat.
Nobody cares about that BS. They don't
Yeah.
care. Just give me what I want. If I'm going to use low shower levels of power, I'm going to stand there for another 20 minutes or 10 minutes. So in
Funny
the
how
end,
that
it's
works.
not going to make a difference. It'll probably cause you to use more stuff and waste more time.
And you're an angry consumer on top of it.
That's
So
right.
why
I'm
in
an
the
angry
world
person.
did we do that? The list goes on and on. Anyway, the Congress has turned around and said, no more of this stuff, no mas.
Yeah.
We're going to get rid of these ridiculous nonsense ideas that were shoved upon us by the leftist radicals. And if you remember, the EPA, it's been way out of control for decades.
Yes.
But they came out with some of the most outlandish things that are way outside their lane. I mean, you guys have no business even fooling around in some of these things. And yet you're forcing us by bureaucratic fiat to put up with it. So
we got a good guy there, though. Lee Zeldin.
Oh my God.
He's a good guy. He's
probably
messing up. He's messing with those guys.
I'm glad that he is.
Oh yeah. He actually was important in cleaning up California after the fires.
Yeah. And by the way, due to all the bureaucratic red tape in California, only two permits have so far been granted for rebuilding.
Sure.
2.
Amazing.
This is
Where's
California.
that mayor? Why is she still there?
And I don't know.
And what are they going to do with all these people that are basically they were rich? They're not rich anymore because a lot of them weren't covered under the insurance. They dropped the insurance just before this happened. A lot of them. I think State Farm.
Guys, you could have been sitting next to Lake of the Ozarks instead of the Pacific Ocean. And by the way, in Missouri, we don't have stupid rules like that. So, okay, you chose to live in California. Good for you.
But there's a lot of water. Look at it. It's a whole ocean of water. It's the biggest ocean in the universe.
And I'm impressed with that, but I can't afford to live there. I couldn't even afford to pitch a tent there at this point. Let's talk about China for a minute, because this may be the second biggest deal.
All right.
Trump's tariffs, you expect a tariff to be kind of a long-term thing. You expect to see results from a tariff in 6 months, 8 months, whatever, because of the slowness of commerce.
Right.
In a lot of cases, you've got ships carrying containers that take 45, 50 days. So you got this lag.
Yeah.
The latest out of China, though, is the tariffs are hurting them rather badly. If you recall, China has sold product for less than cost to keep their factories running, and also to damage us and anybody else who happens to be engaged in commerce. Apparently, they're having some rioting and some layoffs in Beijing. And think about this. The Chinese government is a dictatorship. To expect the citizens to riot, pretty unlikely. They must be pretty desperate. Now, if you recall, China's been upside down in their commercial real estate market for years.
Yeah.
They have overbuilt. Nobody wants to invest in it. They're second-rate buildings, and they don't have the commerce to fill them. Even worse, their residential real estate market has been taking a beating because people would rather put their money into a savings account than they would to buy an asset that is not guaranteed to appreciate. Residential real estate in this country tends to appreciate a few percent a year and is a pretty good investment. There, that's much more iffy. Now we have companies that are quietly laying folks off. They have rioting because some of these people haven't been paid since January.
Wow.
I would say that Trump's tariffs are causing some serious
You're talking
political.
about China, basically, right?
Say again?
You talking China still?
Still talking China.
Yeah. Well, you know, here in the United States, probably is their best real estate plan.
Yeah, they buy here, of
They're
course.
buying all of it here, and Bailey, the AG of Mo, got
Yeah.
a judgment against him for $20 million, and they didn't respond. So now he's demanding that the $20 million be paid
Yeah.
to Missouri farmers.
He's going to
All right.
repossess.
There you go.
Good.
Pretty good deal
Good.
right
I
there.
kind of like Andrew Bailey. He's a redneck,
Yeah.
but so am I. So China's a big deal because I think in the Pacific Rim, you're going to see considerable economic upheaval as a result of the upheaval in China. And this is directly a result of Donald J. Trump's. Now, you'd say tariffs are economic. Yeah, I guess they are. But in his case, the tariffs are political, and they're having the desired result. We want to weaken China. It's being weakened.
Oh, yeah.
And this is just the beginning of it, Dave.
And they're lined up for this. Everybody's lined up. You get the first one of these things. I don't care I do care about the obvious hurt it's going to be on some people, because it does take time, to your point.
Mhm.
Once he gets, but for a future, it's going to be great. But you know what? I think Trump's going to need another turn at this. I think I say Trump 28, because they're going to lawfare him. You know, he's already been impeached again.
Oh, yeah, Dave. That's going to go nowhere. But
Well, I know it's going to help him now.
Long term on this with China, Dave, I think is a big deal. Mark my words. If you want a prophecy out of me, these tariffs that are causing some economic and political upheaval in China will have a long-term effect that is very beneficial for the United States. Very. And kudos to Donald J. Trump for doing this. He's a smart guy. He has surrounded himself with smart people, and he's not afraid to act. Well, good. That's a nice finish for the last 15, 16 years we've had of bozos running the show.
Yeah.
So good job. Dave, that's my parting shot. We're up
All
against
right, my friend. Patricia Odin Maxwell, real quick while he's still on. Sounding good, looking good. Go team.
Yay.
Ray Maddox, your buddy. Good morning. He's got a beautiful dog as a picture. Or he's good. He's a good-looking dog, one or the other. I don't know which. Anyone else? Rico Camino, good morning. He's a friend of Rick Henderson. So, and that's it. All right, my friend. Have a great weekend. Hi to your wife. And let's hear it for John Jeffrey Bradshaw.
Thank you, Dave. It has been my pleasure. Good day.
The pleasure is mine. And we're gonna get a commercial off after we do. Let's see, what do we want to do? Let's do the let's do the award ceremony with what's his name, Stephen.
Paul Simon?
Yeah.
Okay, give me a second here.
Let's do that one, and then we'll go straight to commercial. How's that?
I will get it queued up.
Cool. I love that one. Okay, so far so good, ladies and gentlemen. Well, maybe not so good. I don't know.
There's a process for doing this.
It's a process. I forgot about the process. Everything's a process. There you go. It's coming. It's coming. Doo-doo-doo. I thought this was one of those quick. There it is.
I'm so excited. I just finished a new song and I just have to tell somebody. And I said, oh, great. What's the title? And he said, 47 Ways to Leave Your Lover. And I said, Paul, what if it were 50? 50 ways to leave your lover. And there was a long pause. And he said, go on. And I said, well, 50 has a nice ring to it, and 47 sounds a little awkward. And he said, but, I've got 47. I can't think of any more. And I said, make a new plan, Stan. And he said, 48. I said, don't need to be coy, Roy. Drop off the key, Lee. He said, okay, 50, great. Hey, thanks. And I'm sorry if I interrupted anything. I said, don't worry, I was just here cooking a chicken. And he said, oh, really, how are you preparing it? And I said, parsley, sage, rosemary, and thyme. And now look it up.
My next guest.
Your home is your castle, you don't need unwanted hassle. Don't let those creatures move in to stay. Let us protect your investments, that's what we're all about. Plank Termite and Pest Control will save the day. Plank is locally owned and family operated right here in Rolla, a Google preferred business. Our customer service and your satisfaction is our #1 goal. So call Plank today at 368-3333. Plank Termite and Pest Control will save the day.
Honey, what are you doing?
What does it look like I'm doing?
It looks like you're filling up a swimming pool.
Yep, I'm filling up a swimming pool.
In our living room?
How else am I going to watch the game and stay cool?
If your AC is on the fritz, call Hartley's Climate Control. Hartley's is the area's best in HVAC repairs, installs, and maintenance. Knowledgeable, honest, and dependable. Serving Rolla and the surrounding areas for commercial or residential needs. Hartley's Climate Control. Community born, community raised, community serving.
Call Hartley's Climate Control today at 573-368-3163.
Never be too coy to tell your friends and family about Koi Sushi and Hibachi. Celebrate the best Chinese-Japanese restaurant in the Midwest. Call 573-426-5551 to make a reservation or order takeout. Locally owned, 1808 North Bishop, Rolla, Missouri.
We can sum up McDonald's new crispy chicken sandwich in one word. Crispy, but also juicy and tender. Okay, it's crispy, juicy, tender, all one word. But then, also pickle. Oh, and potato bun, which is 2 words. Okay, we can't sum up our new crispy chicken sandwich in one word, so you'll just have to try it to understand it. Order ahead on the McDonald's app at participating McDonald's. Ba-da-ba-ba-ba.
Merrill's Quarry and Asphalt, 40 years serving cities, counties, and everyday businesses with driveways for people who live and work in our little piece of heaven right smack dab in the middle of America. Call 573-578-9101 for your free estimate of rocking, rolling, paving, driveways, sealing, and striping too. That's 573-578-9101 for your free estimate.
Your home is your castle, you don't need unwanted hassle. Don't let those creatures move in to stay. Let us protect your investments, that's what we're all about. Plank Termite and Pest Control will save the day. Plank is locally owned and family operated right here in Rolla, a Google preferred business. Our customer service and your satisfaction is our #1 goal. So call Plank today at 368-3333. Plank Termite and Pest Control will save the day.
At your locally owned Price Chopper, our standards are high because we know yours are. See for yourself what an incredible fresh selection of grocery items we have in store. Talk to our expert meat associates about what you're looking for. They're happy to meet any special requests like custom cuts, or see our expert produce associates on how to pick out the best fruits and vegetables. Quality in the deli means fresh, full flavor, and always delicious. If you're craving fresh baked goodness, we have that too. You can expect the best selection and the best value while interacting with our friendly and knowledgeable employees. You can find what you're looking for fast and easily at the best prices at Price Chopper. Fresh savings every day. A-Car Real Estate, where experience matters. 532 million sold since 2003, the #1 sales volume in Phelps County. As a client for decades, I can say they are the best in mid-Missouri. Call 573-368-7355. That's 573-368-7355 for the best real estate experience you'll ever have.
Gotta reach 'em, see it right now.
Insurance going up like crazy. Daniel and Henry Insurance is one of the largest private insurance companies in the world. Richard Boyette, 314-444-5011. He's my guy at Daniel and Henry for 10 years. Business or personal, call Richard at 314-444-5011. He's the best.
At Town & Country Bank, we've got all the perks of a national bank, like online banking, quick loan approval, and you can deposit your check from your phone. But that's not why our customers love us. They love us because we still offer hometown customer service. Stop by one of our 2 Rolla locations and let our friendly team remind you how special hometown banking can be. We're locally owned and will take the time to understand your needs. Smart, friendly solutions. Town & Country Bank. Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. We got this handsome guy right there. We're looking at his book, Secret of the Hebrew Bible. Get it at Amazon. He'll tell you where else to get it. He is a wartime rabbi, supports the widows and children of IDF heroes for housing, grouping them with together, and he turns them to the future without forgetting the past. Please welcome all the way from Israel, Rabbi Moshe Rothschild. Good morning. How are you, Rabbi? Or good afternoon.
I'm good, Dave. I'm good. How are you guys?
Oh, you sound resounding. You sound like God. You would expect God to be really resounding. You know what I'm saying?
Well, I don't know about that. Usually God has a British accent.
Is that on purpose, or who? You think God has a British accent? Why?
He does in all the movies. Didn't you see the Ten Commandments?
Okay. 70 are killed in Iran port with possibly blowing it up as Chinese nuke fuel. Was Israel tied to this, or is it a secret?
Well, Israel has denied involvement in this, but I wouldn't be surprised.
Yeah.
If it was Israel or Israel and the United States, but I don't know. There's no benefit for Israel, I think, claiming that they did it. You know, they're just it would just incentivize Iran to try to strike back, and we don't need that. So
yeah, you don't need it. Do they have the ability to strike back at this point?
Look, they can fire hundreds of missiles like they've done in the past, and thank God we were saved. But you know, you never know. You don't want to take a chance. But it has Israel written all over it. I mean, but Israel hasn't taken credit for it.
Bibi is praising his military as a generation of lions, and yeah, I would agree with that. How about you?
Yeah, look, my son is one of those. You know, we are now going on more than a year and a half since we've been actively engaged in fighting, which is a very long time, and we've seen the IDF operate, very, very well and very heroically. So I'd agree with him on that one.
In your opinion, what does God want from us Jews, both inside and outside Israel? What is his focus, so we can know it better?
Well, first of all, it starts with people getting along with each other, you know, and when we have internal struggles in Israel with people fighting with each other, I don't think God looks down favorably upon that. I think, you know, it's kind of like when you go on a car trip and your kids are fighting. Yeah. Parents don't like that, you know, like I think God wants us to get along with each other, and that's where it all starts. And then after that, I think he wants us to be a model, role models for the world of how to act favorably, how to act kindly.
We're very debate-oriented people. We're not shy.
I don't think you're right about that.
Huh? What?
I think you're wrong about that.
I think we need to talk about that now. You're wrong. No, wait. Hey, what are you doing to me?
Yeah, well,
What's the matter with you?
Well,
Your mama.
Because we don't accept everything so easily. We challenge, we question.
Yeah, but that could be
that's part of our charm, I think.
Aggravation. Yeah, you're charming. Me and you met. You insulted me 6 times. I insulted you 7. That's how I knew you were Jewish. Okay, come on. And I enjoyed it. I enjoyed every second of it. Still do.
Yeah, exactly.
Still do. So I don't understand that caveat that somehow we have to be so nice. Nice is one thing, but arguing is how we get to truth, how we get to where we can feel better about ourselves.
Well, you look there. It's not a simple thing. Though. People can disagree civilly. You can disagree without it leading to calling each other a Nazi. For example, like when you have supporters of Netanyahu and then supporters of the opposition, and some of the rhetoric is so awful.
It's actually threatening rhetoric in a lot of cases in the United States too.
Yeah,
a lot in the United States, and the Nazi thing is used daily to describe both Elon Musk and Donald Trump. Donald Trump has been impeached again. Do you believe that? Seriously. Seriously. He says already. He says, I'm impeached. I don't know what for, but I'm impeached. Has Israel settled into being a nation that will never be normal like other countries? Have you figured this out seriously, that that we're very small and we're going to need help? So what do we do that and still maintain? How do we do that and maintain our self-respect?
Well, first of all, we're not so small anymore. We just passed 10 million. The population of Israel just passed 10 million. They announce it every year on Independence Day, which we just celebrated. So we're not so small, and I think we have a lot of friends.
That's trash talk. Ain't so small.
Yeah, we're not
New
so
York
small.
Giants.
Look, in 1948, we became a state. We've more than tripled in size.
Yeah.
We're bigger than some European countries. I think bigger than Austria. I don't know. Some European countries aren't even 10 million.
Yeah. Okay. But so throughout the world, would you say it's about 17, 16 million Jews, roughly?
Yeah, something like that.
So how many Muslims are there?
Muslims, I don't know, 1 billion or so, but it's all about quality.
1 billion or so? 1 or 2 billion.
Yeah. Here, Austria, the population is 9.1 million.
Where's people, and just 20% of them hating us is bad enough, but there's probably more.
Oh, so I was thinking more like 5 or 10%. Yeah.
Huh?
Yeah. I mean, even you said 20%, but even 5% would be a huge number. Yeah,
I know. What I'm saying is we have to be vigilant. We have to be careful about how we handle things. We got to show strength all the time.
Yeah, especially in this region, here in the Middle East, if you don't show strength, then that's weakness.
So will Israel maintain their position as people of pride with a sense of humor? How will God honor this or change it?
These are tough questions.
What do you think I am out here? Chop liver?
Yeah, I'm looking for some softball questions.
You're an intelligent guy. I'm trying to ask you intelligent questions. I go on AI some of the times to argue with them about it. Seriously.
Yeah,
I mean, I said, what's the deal with Abraham? I want to know why that happened. I want to know why there was Ishmael and why he was dispatched and why Isaac, how they came out and the sacrifice situation. I mean, I want to know what was going on then. And then on the other side, Jesus, why did you forsake me? All right, these are the big questions that I want to know. How does he not know that? Seriously.
So you're asking Chat GPT?
No, I'm asking Grok or Grot.
Oh, Grok.
Yeah,
that's
you always
Elon
put
Musk.
You always give me number 3 though. I'm better than number 1 or 2 because I'm Grok 3. They always go straight to it.
Grok.
Oh, that's great. It's amazing stuff. Seriously,
Yeah,
that's where I get
the AI is unbelievable.
You can ask.
I'm not even sure
you want anything,
right?
And it'll give you. And sometimes Sometimes you'll get an answer, and then you'll respond to it, and they'll change their minds.
Yeah, and not only that, they learn, they remember who you are the next time you
Well, pretty much, yeah, they know who I am.
Yeah,
yeah. This is why the electricity went off last night.
As soon as they connect the AI, to like when they develop a realistic looking robot, you're going to have, very futuristic. You're not going to have to hire a cleaning lady anymore. You're just going to have a robot that can wash the dishes, and
yeah, that's right now.
amazing.
That's me. I wash the dishes. I do, don't I? Come on.
You're getting pretty good at it.
Yeah, I'm getting pretty good
You
at
are.
it. Yeah, yeah. I feed the dog a lot.
Oh,
and the
yes.
bird.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's quite a day.
Sometimes I even feed my woman.
It's quite a day of toiling for you each and every day.
Wait a minute, it's coming. Oh, yes. Stop it. Stop it. All right. So Jews are being threatened around the world still, and especially in the USA colleges every single day. Trump gave a speech at the University of Alabama yesterday. It was a great speech. And the Crimson Tide should be the new Harvard. You should go to there. Go to there. And he was giving a speech for the Gen Z crowd, and they loved it. All right, Harvard, not so much. What are Jews? Get Jews out of Harvard, for God's sakes. They hate them. Even the Jewish head guy hates them. He hates the Jews. What a dumbass. Tell him I said that.
Yeah. Well, Harvard is crimson also, isn't that? They're also crimson.
Yeah, they're both crimsons, but the Alabama one is a lot better, a lot more pro America, pro Judaism, pro any religion.
Yeah.
But my gosh, it's a nightmare out there I've got kids too that get picked on.
Yeah.
My one grandson, great golfer, and he's just a one big muscle of strength, and he's a smart kid. They started giving him crap because his name is Weinbaum. He's a Christian, okay? And the guy gave him so much crap, he picked him up and threw him on his head, and got away from him now. That's how strong he is.
Yeah.
You don't want to mess with him. I don't want to mess with him.
Yeah.
And he only weighs 120 pounds right now. So
round mound of muscle.
Anyhow, any rabbi rants or scoops? You can see that thing I sent you with Ron Dermer?
Ron Dermer, yeah.
Yeah, Ron Dermer, ever since I interviewed him, he's skyrocketed. Is that because
for 25 years, I didn't realize he's been by Netanyahu's side.
Yeah.
A long time.
Now, can he, as a person that moved to Israel as a 20-year-old, can he be appointed or elected something?
Yeah, absolutely.
Can he follow,
Look,
we follow Netanyahu. He's
He
about
can
that
run
age.
for prime minister. Yeah, you don't in the United States you can't be naturalized. You have to have been born in the United States
Right.
to be president. Here, it's not like that. First of all, we're a country of immigrants. We're only 77 years old, so it wouldn't really work. But he can become the highest office in Israel. Ron Dermer. I haven't heard that he's going to run for it, but he could.
Yeah, and he's right up there doing. He's when Bibi goes somewhere, he's sitting next to him all the time.
He's one of Bibi's most important confidants.
Oh no, he is,
and advisors.
He is the most important.
Yeah,
from what I read, I sent you.
Other than me, but yeah.
Well,
But
now here's the angle for you. The angle for you is Ron Dermer. You like Ron Dermer. You got him for a interview with me, which was a great interview, and I appreciate that. Where the FBI had to check us all out, and you hardly passed, but you did. Actually, you weren't there, but
you should replay that interview.
But he was great. But now he's getting to the he's 54. Bibi is what, 78, 77?
Something like that, yeah.
Well, I mean, it would be natural. It'd be like
he's not going to be prime minister forever, Bibi. So yeah, I would support Ron Dermer.
Yeah, so would I.
If you want, you should one of the days you take off, and it's not many of them. You should replay his interview.
I thought of that
going.
I thought of that, dude. It was 2015, and we were talking about the same stuff that I'm talking about.
I was about to say. I don't remember what was going on in Israel then.
That's a good idea.
I'm curious.
You hear that? We got to find Ron Dermer's interview on the site.
Okay.
Yeah, it'd be very interesting to see what he said. Like,
I wrote a column about this, and it was the same issues. It was about Iran getting the nukes then, and Netanyahu being treated like crap.
It's still going on
because Obama hated him and put him in the back room in the White House.
Yeah,
remember that?
I remember that.
Yeah, and it's the same issue.
Come through
the
service entrance or something.
So 10 years, how did they not get the bomb?
Yeah. Well, Trump backed out of the JCPOA, whatever it was called, but they're going to hopefully renegotiate something else. But it's the same issues over and over. Just keep reiterating it.
Two-country solution, right? Yeah, that's got to be out. Yeah, I mean, you got to carry this through.
That's not happening. A two-state solution that is so far out.
I mean, it's a shame it had to happen this way. That the then PM, Prime Minister, actually took all the Jews out of Gaza, and got Hamas elected. Ariel Sharon, right? Yeah, and
that was him.
That went from a great experiment to slowly and surely dropping where we're at right now.
Yeah, and
now we're coming back, and I think we got to stop that.
Yeah. I think so.
Other than Dave Weinbaum show, where can people find you and buy your great book and contribute to you?
They can go get the book, Secrets of the Hebrew Bible.org. They can go to the website, pick up a copy. Even if you don't read Hebrew, this book's for you. Go to our website, IsraelAlliance.org or Facebook.com/Israel Alliance.
Rabbi, I never owned a mirror, but it's something I'm looking into. Rabbi Moshe Rothschild. Thank you, Rabbi. How do you?
Thank you.
Wait.
May 18th. We forgot. We should have mentioned that.
Rabbi Moshe, we're excited about May 18th when you're coming to the City of Light and Life Ministry, right?
That's right.
Yeah, I'll
3 p. I think it's 3 p.m. at the afternoon.
3 p.m. That's our favorite time.
Yeah.
There you
Yeah,
go.
it's the matinee. Yeah.
The matinee.
Do you have a
Yeah.
flyer made up for that I could post?
Yeah, he's going on a jet, honey.
It's I don't, but that's a good point.
All right, come
I'll
on,
try to make
pretty good
it
ad
work.
lib. Come on, not bad for the ad lib.
Yeah. You know, Dave, you heard about this at this bar that was on the 18th floor, and a guy fell out the window.
Yeah.
They realized he wasn't the bouncer.
Okay, who made that one up?
I read that.
It wasn't you. There you go. See, I just made that up out of thin
I
air.
admit it when it's not me, but it was funny.
Well, I admit it. There's some I use that aren't mine.
Yeah, that's all right.
All right. All right. Shabbat shalom, my friend. Hi to
All right,
everybody.
guys. Take
Okay?
care. All the best. Shabbat
All
shalom.
right.
Bye-bye.
God love Israel. Okay, we're back. Kathy Sanford Dillon, happy Friday. Love you all. Have a blessed weekend. Yeah, you guys too. And thanks for the Friday comment. She made that up. That's really cool. If you want to call the show, 573-578-2700. Get it off your chest. Okay, Patricia Oden Maxwell has just said, Lisa, we usually make flyers. So we will. You're in the plane business now, or what? So usually make flyers. So we will get one to you. You get one flyer, and that's it.
Yes.
It's all for you.
That's all I need.
One damn flyer.
That's all I need.
That's what I call that little bug on my arm. And you know what? It was kind of fun. It was a little tiny fly, and it kept flying here. And it was a game between me trying to slap it off, and it always came back to the same spot. And I was wondering if he was having a little fun with me. Kind of ticked me off, you know. And then when I killed it, it never came back.
Well, darn.
See, I wonder if
Well,
God
darn.
plays tricks like that on you and has fun with you like that. All right, gets these little pests in there, and what do you do with them? All right, do you kill them, or do you let them go outside or something? Right? I would have been happy to take it outside and throw it out there, but you know, it kept tickling my hand. All right, well, that's another mystery that I can ask Grot or Grot. Is it Grok?
Grok.
Grok, I think it is.
Grok.
Yeah, Grok. All right. Let's do 3 clips of that of what we were having the Gutfeld show. That is good stuff, and it was good all the way through it. Everybody was a riot. Hit it.
So the White House Correspondents' Dinner was on Saturday, and it might have been the most low-energy event since Joe Biden challenged Mitch McConnell to a game of freeze tag. It was there reporters gave themselves awards, including one for writing about Biden's decline in office, a story they didn't so much cover as hide under a pea-stained tarp. Seriously, the media handing themselves an award for covering Joe's decay is like giving BLM an award for fighting crime. Alex Thompson won an award because he also wrote a book about Biden's brain drain. But like betting on a horse after the race is over, the book magically appeared long after Biden left office. That's like running into a burning building after it's been rebuilt as a Starbucks. Everyone knew Biden was long gone. I mean, it's not often you see a podium with a seatbelt on it. So sorry, Alex, you get no points for admitting what your entire industry has had no choice but to admit. They didn't just fail to report on the problem, they were the problem. Here he is accepting the award.
President Biden's decline and its cover-up by the people around him is a reminder that every White House, regardless of party, is capable of deception. But being truth tellers also means telling the truth about ourselves. We, myself included, missed a lot of this story. And some people trust us less because of it. We bear some responsibility for faith in the media being at such lows.
Oh, we missed a lot of the story. That suggests it wasn't intentional. But when someone, or maybe 60 million someones, are telling you that the bus is right there in front of you and it's waiting for you and you still don't get on, that's intentional. If only they could blame Trump, because you know that's what that whole room was thinking. Behind their flutes of cheap champagne, you know they still felt that Trump's candidacy justified anything they did or didn't do, and they do it all over again. You can't teach an old dog new tricks, though Joy Behar will respond to getting whacked with a rolled-up newspaper. You were waiting. You were so patiently waiting. Now, it's kind of nice someone in legacy media admitted their complete and total incompetence, but do they really think that's all it'll take to build trust? That we all have faith in them now? It's like John Wayne Gacy going, they found a few dead kids under my house, but I'm a different guy now. What time's your kid's birthday party again?
Hi there. Welcome to the Dave Weinbaum Show. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Adolf.
Adolf, well, how are you, my friend? You caught me right at the end of a clip, or you must be listening to the show. No way, right?
Yeah.
What's up?
I've been trying to stay healthy.
Well, that's good. You sound good.
I did a whole lot better than a couple of weeks ago.
Yeah. Well, how's Joanne doing?
I spent the week in intensive care.
No kidding.
Yeah, double pneumonia.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. Tell me about it.
You okay now?
At any rate, getting back to Donald Trump. Or getting to Donald Trump.
Yeah.
Everybody's screaming and hollering he's not doing enough, or he's doing too much, or he's doing this, or he's doing that, but nothing's getting done. Do they think that this stuff happens automatically and just changes overnight?
Yes. Yes, they do. That's what they think. They think, okay, we got you doing these tariffs. It better show up like tomorrow. And it doesn't work that way. Everybody with a brain knows that.
Yeah.
You know.
I'm changing the name of Democrats to CBD.
CBD. Yeah. Well, that's probably true about a lot of them, actually. It could be a problem for some of them.
No, you know what CBD stands for?
Yeah, it's pot, isn't it?
No. Crybaby Democrats.
Oh, crybaby. You got me. You know, Lisa called me a natural disaster. I responded, I am not. I work very hard at this.
There you go.
Yeah.
It's not
no danger there. Yeah. All right. What else you got? And how's your lovely bride?
She's
Joanne?
doing real well.
Okay, well, that's good.
She has to. You got to take care of me.
That's for sure, yeah. That's for sure.
That's a hard job.
Well, are you trying to tell me you're even more of a pain in the you-know-what than I know you are?
Well, congratulations on your new store. When's that going to be able to open?
Well, you know, we got to do these things every couple of years. I think in a couple of months. I don't know, August maybe.
Okay,
So,
I figured about 5-6 months.
yes, we're redoing a restaurant in Waynesville, Missouri, which is helping out the St. Robert store very nicely. But we have to spread out our people and all that stuff. It's a pain, but you got to do it every so many years, every 10 years or so. You got to redo your everything. You know, update your equipment, update your stuff that you have. You know, your chairs, your deck, whatever you got. Remodel,
it's a tax
right?
write-off.
Well, yeah, it's a tax write-off, but you know, you're not getting any money in either there.
Yeah,
there you go.
Truth.
Yeah, making money is easy if you have the ink and paper.
Mm-hmm.
All
you
right,
go.
you're getting that's my last joke for right now. But thanks for calling.
Oh, no problem.
Hi to Joanne.
You betcha.
All right,
And
take
you
care.
Take care for the rest of the weekend.
Yeah, you too. Bye-bye.
Mm-hmm. Bye.
All right, let's give us we haven't done much humor here. Why don't we, except for my ad libs, of course. Why don't you do the new Seinfeld one and Reagan and Carlin?
Yep. We can do that.
I am for open immigration, but that sign we have in the front of the Statue of Liberty, give us your tired, your poor, your huddled masses. Can't we just say, hey, the door's open, we'll take whoever you got? Do we have to specify the wretched refuse? I mean, why don't we just say, give us the unhappy, the sad, the slow, the ugly, people that can't drive, if they have trouble merging, if they can't stay in their lane, if they don't signal, can't parallel park, if they're sneezing, if they're stuffed up, if they're clogged, if they have bad penmanship, don't return calls, if they have dandruff, food between their teeth, if they have bad credit, if they have no credit, Mr. Spot Shaving. In other words, any dysfunctional, defective slob that you can somehow cattle prod onto a wagon, send them over. We want them.
And that's why Donald Trump won our election in 2024, right?
Three fellows that went out of the building to get in their car and found they'd locked the keys in. They were locked out. And one of them said, get a wire coat hanger and we can straighten it out and I can get the other one says, you can't do that. Somebody think we're stealing the car. And the third one said, well, we better do something pretty quick because it's raining, starting to rain and the top's down.
They came to General Secretary Gorbachev, and they told him there was a woman in the Kremlin. She wouldn't leave unless she could see him. So he said, well, bring her in. And they brought her in. And he said, old mother, what is it? What? She said, I have a question. He said, all right. She said, was communism invented by a politician or a scientist? Well, he said, a politician. She said, that explains it. A scientist would have tried it on mice first.
Germs. Where did this sudden fear of germs come from in this country? Have you noticed this? The media constantly running stories about all the latest infections, salmonella, E. coli, hantavirus, bird flu, and Americans they panic easily, so now everybody's running around scrubbing this and spraying that and overcooking their food and repeatedly washing their hands, trying to avoid all contact with germs. It's ridiculous, and it goes to ridiculous lengths. In prisons, before they give you a lethal injection, they swab your arm with alcohol.
Your home is your castle, you don't need unwanted hassle. Don't let those creatures move in to stay. Let us protect your investments, that's what we're all about. Plank Termite and Pest Control will save the day.
Plank is locally owned and family operated right here in Rolla, a Google preferred business. Our customer service and your satisfaction is our #1 goal. So call Plank today at 368-3333.
Plank Termite and Pest Control will save the day.
With warmer temperatures right around the corner and allergies ramping up, now's the time to get those AC units serviced. At Hartley's, we pride ourselves in offering outstanding service with fast response times. With proper maintenance, you can make those hot days be a lot cooler and remove those pesky allergens that always seem to find their way into your home. Call us today so you can be living a much cooler and healthier life. Hartley's, community born, community raised, community serving.
Call Hartley's Climate Control today at 573-368-3163.
Never be too coy to tell your friends and family about Koi Sushi and Hibachi. Celebrate the best Chinese-Japanese restaurant in the Midwest. Call 573-426-5551 to make a reservation or order takeout. Locally owned, 1808 North Bishop, Rolla, Missouri.
We can sum up McDonald's new crispy chicken sandwich in one word. Crispy. But also juicy and tender. Okay, it's crispy, juicy, tender. All one word? But then, also pickle. Oh, and potato bun, which is 2 words. Okay, we can't sum up our new crispy chicken sandwich in one word, so you'll just have to try it to understand it. Order ahead on the McDonald's app at participating McDonald's. Ba-da-ba-ba-ba.
Merrill's Quarry and Asphalt, 40 years serving cities, counties, and everyday businesses with driveways for people who live and work in our little piece of heaven right smack dab in the middle of America. Call 573-578-9101 for your free estimate of rocking, rolling, paving, driveways, sealing, and striping, too. That's 573-578-9101 for your free estimate.
Your home is your castle, you don't need unwanted hassle. Don't let those creatures move in to stay. Let us protect your investments, that's what we're all about. Plank Termite and Pest Control will save the day. Plank is locally owned and family operated right here in Rolla, a Google preferred business. Our customer service and your satisfaction is our #1 goal. So call Plank today at 368-3333. Plank Termite and Pest Control will save the day.
Busy schedule? Let your locally owned Price Chopper help you save time with online shopping. It's easy. Sign up to tcmarkets.com or download our mobile app in the App Store or Google Play. Create an account and browse through the categories and choose the items you need. When you place your order, your personal shopper will get all of the items you've selected, taking the same care you would and following your notes. We offer free curbside pickup, so you don't even have to get out of your car. Start your online order today and no online shopping fee for a limited time. Go to tcmarkets.com or download our mobile app to get started. Price Chopper. Fresher savings every day. A-Car Real Estate, where experience matters. 532 million sold since 2003, the #1 sales volume in Phelps County. As a client for decades, I can say they are the best in mid-Missouri. Call 573-368-7355. That's 573-368-7355 for the best real estate experience you'll ever have.
Gotta reach 'em, see it right now.
Insurance going up like crazy? Daniel and Henry Insurance is one of the largest private insurance companies in the world. Richard Boyette, 314-444-5011. He's my guy at Daniel and Henry for 10 years. Business or personal, call Richard at 314-444-5011. He's the best.
Maybe it's for a kitchen you've always wanted. Maybe it's just to have a little extra room. Whatever the reason you're considering a new home loan, it's good to know that Town & Country Bank will guide you in the right direction. Our experienced local lenders are here to help you with a new home construction, remodeling projects, and fixed and adjustable rate home loans. You can even start the process online by clicking Online Mortgage Center at tcbanks.com. Smart, friendly solutions. Town & Country Bank. Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
We're back under Tom Homan. We're getting an average of 78 a day over the border under Joe Biden. It was close to 15,000 every day. And they still have the temerity to say, oh, the border was closed. All right. I mean, and in the other, just the other day was like 3 got in. 3. They're not even trying anymore, and so they're getting rid of the bad guys. Judges are interfering, and it's a bunch of BS. They know it. Barack Obama, how many millions of people did he send out of the country while he was actually flying some in? Like Somalians. That's why we have Omar out there in Minnesota, So, anyways, this was Trump's 100 days, and so far it's legendary success. He's starting things that are long term. Some are short term, like oil. Oil is down like from 88 a barrel, $88 a barrel, down to like 59. I mean, that's an amazing cut from that, and it's going down. The only problem is the oil companies, they're losing money right now. But for 100 days, he's got more done, and actually talked to the press. The press is it's amazing what he does with the press. They're at all his meetings when he has administration meetings. He has them there. When he has something going on with foreign leaders like Bibi Netanyahu, Ron Dermer, Egypt, France, and now it's going to be even Canada. It's going to be like amazing. The press is always there. They should be loving this, even if they hate the guy, because it's an amazing thing that he's doing. He's letting even some of the biggest rats there are in the media, not all of them, but some who are, he's letting them ask questions, whereas he wouldn't do that the last time. The guy has matured into one hell of a great president, and probably by far the best ever. Wouldn't you say? Who was better?
Well, some would say Reagan.
He had better hair.
I think. I mean, if you look at promises made, promises kept. I mean, basically a perfect record when you look at it even from back during the first term that he had.
I agree. I agree that.
And I think a lot of people say Reagan too because of everything with the Cold War that was going on at that time with the Soviet Union, how he handled it. So yeah,
I believe Reagan did a good job. I think what he pulled off with what was his name, Bulacek or something, or what was the guy's name that he said he had the stain on his head?
I
forgot his name. Anyways,
yep.
He pretty well made him like destroy the Soviet Union because he wanted to start Star Wars.
His name was Gorbachev.
Gorbachev.
Yep.
Yeah. He wanted to start Star Wars like Trump is going to do, to get a shield like Israel does, which caused the miracle of Iran and everyone else dumping these bombs on them and these drones, and 99.9% of them get nailed, and none of them cause any damage or deaths. It's incredible what happened.
So there's some similarities and some key differences between the Trump and Reagan administrations.
Yeah.
Some of the similarities is both Reagan and Trump were outsiders. They were,
not lawyers,
philanthropists. They were actors and came in from the outside and completely flipped the political landscape on its head, basically. Now, some of the key differences, we heard a Reagan clip earlier, which we play very commonly on the show, and the media is laughing at his jokes.
Yeah.
That doesn't happen now. The media has completely flipped, and it's not, as you've heard from the clips from Gutfeld and others so far today, they're not actually out there to report the news. They're out there to have the spin, to do their job is to hide what they don't want reported. It was different whenever Ronald Reagan was in. So Trump has a much harder job with all of that considered. And so he's really got to kind of run through a gauntlet to get anything done. And that's what he's been doing so far this first 100 days.
Yeah, well, they had a friendlier tone.
Much friendlier,
back
yes.
in the 80s with Reagan. And they would be able to debate harshly and then go out and have a couple of drinks. And they were friends, all right, who argued. This we don't have. We have actual assassination attempts being made. Of course, that happened with Kennedy.
Sure.
We know that, and we're pretty sure that it wasn't Lee Harvey Oswald. And our own CIA, even Lyndon Johnson, had a lot to do with this.
I always suspected. I had a history teacher in my high school.
Your history teacher killed the Kennedy?
No. She was huge on the whole Kennedy thing. She was a big Kennedy fan, and she said, I'm just going to present the evidence to you as it is, and you make your own determination. And it was clear to me from how everything laid out that, even back then I said, okay, maybe Oswald took a shot. I don't know, but he definitely was not alone. And this was a widespread conspiracy. I'm beginning to believe now that Oswald never even took a shot.
Yeah.
I think we knew he was the patsy, but I think he was just the complete fall guy all the way around. Now, can I confirm everything that, Ms. Baker said a couple weeks ago? No, because I wasn't there. but a lot of what she says has been confirmed by other people.
Exactly.
And there's just too much here. There's just too much smoke. And where there's that much smoke, there's a fire.
And you're talking about mainly the CIA, maybe
a lot of people
the
want
FBI.
A lot of people want to point to the mob. Here's the deal:
the mob
was the mob involved? Probably so.
Yeah, I think. But I think what happened is they screwed Kennedy.
But I think at minimum,
or Kennedy screwed them.
I think at minimum, even if the mob was involved, and maybe even the mob was ultimately responsible for killing Kennedy, the government was at least involved in helping hide it, if not help to get it done.
I just don't know that a lot of people did not like Kennedy or his brother. All right, and he was very hard on a bunch of people that their father had told to take care of. He says, "Hey, take care of my kids." And then he got a stroke and couldn't communicate anymore. All right, that's the story I got. So,
yep.
All right, so play a couple of clips. Play next 2 or 3 clips, and we'll be right into see Mr. Adamo.
What's with this we? We screwed up? Not us, you jackass. Our show reported on Joe's decline every damn day. It came right after our Behar fat joke, which you already got and you're welcome. But if his eyebrow inched any higher, it would have landed on the back of his neck. So don't include us in this phony apology tour. There was at least one table in that room that had nothing to apologize for. Well, unless it's for the missing silverware. You know how the doocies get. The head of the Correspondents Association spoke.
We care deeply about accuracy and take seriously the heavy responsibility of being stewards of the public's trust. What we are not is the opposition. What we are not is the enemy of the people, and what we are not is the enemy of the state.
Right. Not too many professions where you have to clarify that you're not the enemy of the people. Especially by a guy who looks like he ate Lionel Richie. But how does he prove he's not the enemy? Well, let's try this out. Did you tell us the truth? Or did you lie for the last 4 years? Primarily about COVID, Biden, race, crime, the border. And you're not the enemy of the people when you lie like that? Yeah, and I don't have an ass harder than the dinner rolls at Bennigan's. So look, it's easy to make fun of this sad affair, but it's their pretension, arrogance, and entitlement that makes it so easy. So keep giving yourselves participation trophies for your part in the biggest fraud in media history. But don't call it a dinner. Call it a funeral. Because the guests are only there to pay their last respects to the corpses of CNN, MSNBC, and the rest of you lying ass bags. It should have been a closed casket. Kevin, I saw a picture of you at one of these parties. Did you actually go to it or just go to the parties?
Okay. Yes. The parties happened at various embassies. They were hosted by various networks. I think I have to go to Betty Ford now because I don't think I got home till 4 a.m. from the French embassy, and I was chowing down frog legs till the cows came home. It was a hell of a party.
Yes.
And, you know, journalists and tequila, oh my goodness. Who knew?
Yes.
Bad things could happen.
Yeah. So what did you make of the correspondence dinner? Did you listen? Did you find it to be hypocritical? Did you find it to be arrogant and pretentious?
That's the problem. I woke up and I don't remember anything.
Tequila can help ease you out of your shyness and let you tell the world that you're ready and willing to do just about anything. You'll notice the benefits of tequila almost immediately. And with a regimen of regular doses, you can overcome any obstacles that prevent you from living the life you want to live. Shyness and awkwardness will be a thing of the past, and you'll discover many talents you never knew you had. Stop hiding and start living with tequila. Tequila may not be right for everyone. Women who are pregnant or nursing should not use tequila. However, women who wouldn't mind nursing or becoming pregnant are encouraged to try it. Side effects may include dizziness, nausea, vomiting, incarceration, erotic lustfulness, loss of motor control, loss of clothing, loss of money, loss of virginity, delusions of grandeur, table dancing, headache, dehydration, dry mouth, and a desire to sing karaoke and play all-night rounds of strip poker, truth or dare, and naked twister. Warning, the consumption of alcohol may make you think you're whispering when you're not. It's a major factor in dancing like a retard. May cause you to tell your friends over and over again that you're in love with them. Also may cause you to think you can sing. Alcohol may lead you to believe that ex-lovers are really dying for you to telephone them at 4 in the morning. Alcohol may make you think you can logically converse with members of the opposite sex without spitting. It may create the illusion that you are tougher, smarter, faster, and better looking than most people. And it may lead you to think people are laughing with you. Alcohol may cause pregnancy, and it also may be a major factor in getting your ass kicked. So what are you waiting for? Stop hiding and start living with tequila.
Great idea, JP. And it's like right now when we have our next guest scheduled. And look at him. He's right there. He's right there. He is the author of Rules for Defeating Radicals. I'm pretty sure he wasn't high on tequila when he wrote that. He also has Rules for Wyoming Republicans, since he, disenfranchised Liz Cheney as a friend. Please welcome the happy conservative Sicilian, Chris Adamo. Now, he doesn't look happy right now, but he is on the inside. I know.
Yeah, I just realized I forgot to hook my mic up. Can you hear me okay?
Yep. Yeah, now we can.
Okay.
Yeah, okay. Well, glad you remembered that.
Yeah, it looks like I got it working. So
okay, good.
Now I'm happy, and I think I just heard the answers to a lot of things I've wondered about you, Dave. Are you a tequila lover?
No, actually, I have drank it on.
I couldn't resist that. You would have pulled that on me if you thought you could get away with it, but I that was wrong of me. I apologize.
No, that wasn't for you necessarily. But it was in a clip that I'm playing.
I know, it was great. It actually had.
I thought it was a great show. This guy sometimes, not always, has an amazingly good show. You want to hear a couple clips? No, because you're selfish. Let's face it.
Go ahead. Let's hear it.
All right, play a couple more clips of this, because
then I got some serious stuff to talk about.
Serious stuff. He has serious stuff to talk about, unlike us.
Unlike you guys, who I think are hitting the tequila in between commercials or something.
Yeah, well, that's our secret. Don't tell anybody.
Don't threaten us with a good time. I know that.
Yeah, that's right. 10 and 11. Man, this guy's tough.
It was like a P. Diddy party, but less baby oil.
Well, I was waiting for the comic to come out and insult the president. Didn't happen.
Yeah,
I was waiting for some entertainment. Didn't happen.
Yeah.
That's why we had a potty hottie afterwards.
Well, Michael, on Saturday, you were also at a dinner, but it was at the shelter.
Yes. It was rice and beans night.
Oh, very good. Very good.
It was delightful.
Exactly. So they didn't have a comedian there, but do you think they needed one?
Yes. Yes. Who was the dude who's like, we're not the enemy of the people. We're not like, you're also not at prom in 1982, guy. I love how this dinner is now, it's the same dinner every year.
Yeah.
Some reporter gets up there and it's like, we missed it. We missed the big story. This time it was Biden. And you're just like, oh, if only there was a clue that he wasn't together. Maybe after every speech, he was lost on stage. Yeah. There's a clue. But it's just, oh, we missed it. Oh, Trump-Russia collusion. We missed it. COVID origins. We missed it. January 6th, we missed it. It's like they should have set it to music and have Mick Jagger come out, Sorry, we missed that story. We missed it. We missed it. We were with some Puerto Rican girls that were just dying to meet you. They're going to bring a case of wine. We're going to do some food around, like we used to.
I did not see where you were going, but I love it.
I know. He's sitting there. He's sort of kind of chuckling a bit. One day he will have a full sense of humor, I hope.
Oh, I was having a good laugh about it. I just didn't show it so much.
Okay. Well, yeah.
There's a dark side to everything he's saying. There's an element of truth there.
This is not the show to curb your enthusiasm. All right. I want you to have enthusiasm. Laugh. Have a good time. I think keep your mind clear to give a better.
When we talk about leftists, there's a time to laugh, and then there's a time to really get mad. I want to bring up some just one example, and we can sure talk. I got a whole page full of stuff here.
Oh my God, look at this. Okay, this stuff is going to waste now. Okay.
Well, no, we'll get to that stuff. We'll get to that stuff. This is backup, all right. But I want to just point out that this whole entire ruckus, that this left-wing media, they're so concerned about this Maryland dad who's actually an MS-13 guy. He's down in El Salvador. Yeah. They want him released. You know why they want him released? because they're getting prompted by the Maduro regime out of Venezuela to say things like that. The Maduro regime, I was watching this morning a post from Elon Musk. The Maduro regime is actually the ones putting these hired assassins in America. They're actually bringing these criminals up here to target people that they don't like because they don't want the opposition up here. It's the Maduro regime doing this. So when these reporters are talking about the family man taken away from his son and all of this stuff, and he's in El Salvador, and that's so awful. When did you ever care about somebody being falsely imprisoned? You leftist hypocrites. They're concerned because Maduro out of Venezuela is telling them to be concerned. It's no more difficult to understand than that. It's no more.
I thought he was accepting planefuls of Venezuelan criminal aliens.
El Salvador they're working with Trump, okay, and that's what's got the left so mad.
Well, why? I thought he was working with Trump too in Venezuela. No.
Well, if he is, he's posturing. He is pushing for his people being able to get in here because this whole leftist ruckus about that Maryland dad who turned out to be an MS-13 gang member, and they'll argue about that, were the tattoos real or not. The guy's a gang member.
Right.
The guy's part of this.
Been solidified by a couple of judges too.
Absolutely. And yet what do we have? We have all these leftists, from the leftist judges to the leftist politicians to leftist media, talking about this guy should be Father of the Year, and he's being unfairly treated by Trump. I mean, this is how these people operate. So yeah, those comedy routine points we were hearing a few minutes ago, they're funny. The hypocrisy is funny. The things he was pointing out, they're funny, but there's an element of truth to them.
Oh, sure. How about Elon Musk guilty of uncovering how our government stole from us taxpayers and fed the pigs who are Democrats and rhinos?
Yeah, absolutely. And again, why are they mad at Elon Musk? They're not mad because he's done something really wrong. They're mad because he's exposing their corruption. Now think about this. 5 of the 10 richest counties in America are immediately adjacent to DC.
Yeah.
Okay, 5 of the 10. All right. Now, if you go to Qatar or someplace like that, you say, okay, why are they so wealthy here? Why are they just dripping in the money? Well, it's because they're producing oil for the rest of the world, right? So what do they produce in DC? Nothing. They take from the rest of the country, they funnel to their people.
They produce things that you can use your taxes for that will eventually become the actual monies that they get from the government.
And you hear these. We're now hearing numbers that you and I just can't fathom. We're hearing trillions. Okay. Now, just think about the fact that if the entire Congress had $1 billion to play with no accountability, that would be almost $2 million per person for the Congress. That's just $1 billion.
Yeah.
Okay. I mean, these we just can't fathom these. And how many billions have they actually been pulling in and funneling to their best buddies and channeling and all of this? And it's being stolen from us, because if you're not $1 billion short on your taxes, but Dave, if you're $10 short on your taxes, the IRS is coming after you.
Oh yeah.
Okay. So we've got not $1 billion being squandered and being corruptly misused by the Congress. We have trillions.
Yeah.
Did you see the Hakeem Jeffries and I forget the name of the other guy, but
David Hogg?
No, but yeah, we could talk about him too. But no, they had the Hakeem Jeffries and the other guy. They had their big protest outside the Capitol the other day, and there was literally maybe a dozen people there.
Oh yeah.
Okay, it was pathetic. The reason it was so pathetic is because they didn't have millions of dollars all of a sudden of U.S. aid money on hand to go buy busloads of paid actors to have them appear.
Yeah.
And so this is the stuff they've been doing.
Well, how about Schumer's famous sleepover? He had it was so bad they stopped it at midnight.
Do you remember Jesse Jackson's tag team hunger strike? This was a couple of decades ago. Rush Limbaugh had a good laugh about it because Jesse Jackson was going to do a hunger strike until he got something, some leftist nonsense. He was going to do a hunger strike. Well, then it came out that, well, he'd only do the hunger strike until he got hungry, and then he'd leave, and then somebody else would come in there and they'd do the hunger strike. So it's tag team hunger strike.
Yeah,
I can do that.
I don't remember that. I'm not as old as you.
We won't even go there. But yeah, it's like
I lie if I want to. It's my show.
So if you have, well, you're not a Democrat, so eventually you tell the truth. I have faith in you.
What? I mean, eventually I tell the truth. I tell the truth all the time.
You caught that.
It
Okay.
happened to be a little funny here and there.
So what else do you want to talk about? Like I said, I got my list.
Okay.
I got so much on this.
So how is the Republican Party performing compared to what you thought it was going to be in Wyoming?
Oh, they are doing fantastic.
Are they?
They are doing fantastic. They also have leftist. Now these were Rhino-appointed leftist activist judges that are coming out, and they're doing the exact same thing on the state level in Wyoming. They're doing the exact same thing that we see these Obama judges doing to Trump.
Yeah.
Where they come out and whatever the legislature passes, there's a judge somewhere. One of them, I kid you not, one of them is a retired judge that an activist court said, we're going to call this retired judge back into duty long enough so he can make this nasty decision and so he can take the heat for him because he's retired.
Yeah, was he?
Okay? And it was a pro-abortion thing because the Wyoming legislature, now that we have the Freedom Caucus actually calling the shots in Wyoming, the Wyoming legislature passed a really strong pro-life bill. And so these leftist judges got together and they pulled this guy out of retirement. He says, it's not constitutional. We've got to have this pro-abortion stuff still in place. It's the same kind of garbage going on. Now, this I will tell you, unlike our Congress, the Wyoming legislature, they're saying, how do we deal with this? We're going to deal with this. Okay. The big question I have is our U.S. Congress, how are they doing? And all I see is a bunch of foot dragging. And it's the same old Rhino scheme of saying we can't make the hard decisions because we may not have the votes. And so we're going to have to try and play nice. And hopefully if we play nice, people won't think we're the bad guys that the leftists say we are. What really happens is they totally dispirit our side. And if they don't change their tune real quickly and start showing some serious, taking some scalps of these evildoers, if they don't start really going after these people, come next year, too many of us are just going to say, you know what, I don't even feel like going to the polls in the midterms because they don't do anything. And then we lose the Congress to the Democrats. And that's the Democrat plan. And they've got the Rhino lackeys in there right along with them playing along.
Well, we got the test coming up here, the all-in-one bill, which is going to be a tax. It's going to fix the tax problems we're going to have, and it's going to raise some money over the limit. So, what do you think of that?
Well, I've got mixed feelings about it. I always think in these cases we can do better. I will tell you this: each of these bills that they bring up. If Mike Johnson is scared that he won't pass a bill, then he's playing the cowards. He's playing the fool for them, because what we need to do, and this is what they did, take it back to Wyoming, is you have a bill that you know you can't pass, you put it on the floor anyway. The old conventional wisdom is if it doesn't pass, you've just been humiliated. That's garbage. That's a scam they pull on you, because here's the thing. You put a good bill on the floor and it doesn't pass, you go back to the people and say, see that guy there and that one there and that one there? They're the reason it didn't pass. They're the ones we need to change out. That's what the Wyoming Freedom Caucus has been doing.
Well,
and get rid of those people.
And that a lot of that is because of you. Is that right?
I'm going to take credit for some of it. I can't say a lot of it, but they have some real courageous people there.
I'm trying to give you some.
I know you are. A couple of people you need to have on the show.
Hold on. Look at he's just smile. Isn't that cute?
Okay. Here's some names for you. You can write them down. I'll text them to you. Chip Nyman, Wyoming Speaker of the House. You need to have him on your show. Jeremy Harrelson, he's the Speaker Pro Tem. Okay. And then the other one is John Baer, who's the leader of the Freedom Caucus. These are the people out of Wyoming.
No Liz Cheney?
Huh?
No Liz Cheney? What do you think she'd want?
You're hopeless. I think you're beyond all hope. I think you're a closet Democrat. Anyway, you get those guys on your show because they can tell you how it's done.
How many times have you voted for Trump?
How many times has he run on the general? Yeah, 3 times.
Yeah, me
4
too.
times. 3 times.
Me
Yeah.
too.
And he won 3 times, and anybody
I know.
who says otherwise is a member of the opposition.
Well,
Anyway,
probably,
a lesson to Mike Johnson.
Everybody knows us now. Everybody knows he won in 2020.
Right.
Nobody even tries to hide it anymore.
Oh, the left still pulls their narrative that 2020 he tried to steal the election.
They know. They know.
If you know somebody stole $100 out of a cash register at your McDonald's, you're going to go after them and get that $100 back, aren't you?
Oh yeah.
Okay. We know they stole the 2020 election. What does that say about every one of those so-called judges that were appointed by that so-called President Biden, who was actually just Obama's puppet? What does that say about the judges that were appointed from 2021 to January 2025? It says they're illegitimate. They ought to be out the door right now because they're illegitimate.
You're talking about a lot of them. If you're talking about the 1-6 situation.
No, I'm talking about all the judges that have been appointed since then.
Yeah, well,
they're not legitimate.
Sure, they're all lean left, and they're doing stuff that's ridiculously wrong and unconstitutional.
Yep, and we need to hold them accountable.
Yes, I agree.
That guy,
are now being held accountable by the DOJ. You like that?
They're starting. I want to see a long line of orange suits.
And then you've got the prosecutor in New York. New York City, what's her name?
James,
Letitia James.
Yeah.
Who did the same thing that Trump didn't do that she accused him of.
Right.
Okay.
But now
let's she had her father sign the contract as her husband. Okay.
Let's look at
how does that work?
Let's look at it. You talk about my expertise when you introduced me. Let's look at the Alinsky angle of this. Okay.
Yeah.
We saw these people doing this to Trump.
Who is Alinsky? And not everybody knows that. You got to buy his book.
Saul Alinsky, for those of you who don't know that, Saul Alinsky was like the godfather of modern leftist corrupt politicking. Okay. Yeah. He was the godfather of the leftist subversive seditious efforts to lie and manipulate to get power that they didn't have because they didn't have a legitimate agenda and they didn't have the numbers. He didn't write. See my book there, Rules for Defeating Radicals?
Yes.
It's based on his book, Rules for Radicals. It was not rules for the majority. Saul Alinsky said, how do we take our small numbers and by being nasty enough and deceitful enough and shameless enough, how do we take these small numbers and use our influence to manipulate the population into thinking we're actually the future of America? And you know what? It worked. It always works if he goes after cowards and they let it happen. The basic premise of my book is it only works on those who allow it. And if you stand up to it, it falls
cowards apart. Or you buy them. You buy the cowards.
What you do at that point is they've sold out.
Yeah.
We look at people like Liz Cheney, like Mitt Romney, and at some point they make a calculated decision that my political future might be better served if I start playing nice with the enemy. Before long, they become, there's Liz Cheney, Adam Kinzinger was the Illinois Republican. There they are sitting in between Nancy Pelosi and Adam Schiff, two of the most vile, vocal Democrats in the Congress. And they're sitting in between those two, and they're just patting each other on the back, talking about the Constitution and the rule of law. That's how it happens.
Do you realize I've met both of them?
Were you having tequila at the time?
No, but
okay. Just wondering. That was just.
I was in an elevator with Liz once, and she mentioned your name. By the way,
I don't even want to hear this story. I have a feeling that there's a little more to this story.
We was at a CPAC convention, and the other guy was a friend of Republican Davis, and I forget what is his first name. Rodney Davis, right? I'm good friends with his father, and he brought him to a Cardinal game, St. Louis Cardinal game, and I talked to him for a while. I didn't know who he was. That was a long time ago. That was like,
and they were probably posturing as conservatives at the time.
They were. Oh man,
Liz Cheney,
absolutely.
Liz Cheney was a frequent guest on the Rush Limbaugh program, and I honestly think at the time he was anticipating that she would be the first woman president because she was Miss Conservative. Okay, well, one day it dawned on her that she wasn't going to get there unless she did a lot of posturing, and so she started doing that. Well, it blew up in her face, and rather than coming out and saying, "Hey, I shouldn't have been playing nice with the Democrats because it's not working," she started doubling down, and now she's out there. She's in between Rob Reiner and pick your lefty, Hillary Clinton.
Yeah, she's gone to the dark end very quickly,
completely.
And you might have helped send her there, quite frankly.
Well, I hope I did. You know how we do that is when they come out, they start posturing when they claim they're in the middle.
Yeah,
you show them what's right and what's left, which is what's right and what's wrong, and in the middle is halfway to what's wrong.
So, are we beginning to on this judge situation? Are we beginning to show some chutzpah about getting rid of these guys or beating them or whatever we need to do? Where's the Supreme Court on this? Are we going to? Huh?
Good question. And tell me this: can we trust the Supreme Court? We've had some.
Well, no, you can't.
Some 6-3 decisions that have gone against the Constitution itself. We can go back to John Roberts in 2013, 2014, deciding that Obamacare was constitutional.
Yeah.
And the basis on which he did it is it's too big for us to oppose. That's not the Constitution. So how was he bought off and compromised? Something happened because
there's something about him and being a friend of Epstein.
Yep.
Being present at some of these outings at his island.
And from that point forward, he went full Liz Cheney.
Yeah, but you know what? Look, the Republicans have a solid 1798 decision about aliens and being able to send them back, illegal aliens. And so whatever the Constitution is going to do, they have to change that, or it stands. And if they decide to ignore the Constitution, the president can just ignore them and say, "What are you going to do?"
This is the point.
Their problem right now because Trump will just do it anyways. What are they going to?
This is what needs to happen. But Mike Johnson needs to be supporting him.
He's got the numbers of people.
He absolutely does.
Probably more than 100 million at this point love Trump. Okay, and they're probably guessing it 100, maybe 800 or so. 50 million probably would have voted for him had he not been cheated, even in this election.
No doubt.
Okay.
So to prove my point now, let me ask you.
Yes.
There were two major so-called events that happened yesterday, and one of them I'm going to guess you won't be sure about, and if you don't know about it, I'm going to tell you it's going to prove my point because it did really happen. Okay. One of them was the National Day of Prayer, and that was a great event. And then do you remember what the other one was?
Well, he fired, or he didn't fire Waltz. Waltz resigned. Was that it?
No, actually, that's worth talking about.
Now he's going to be the ambassador to the UN.
Yeah.
So Trump kind of fed the liberals. He fed the liberals some good news.
Yeah.
And then he took it away from them. I love it.
Well, there was this other thing, and believe me,
what's the other thing?
This doesn't redound negatively to you. This proves the point, though, is that it was a total bust. Yesterday was this. They had this big planned nationwide May Day. Leftists were going to show up everywhere and disrupt everything because the country is just not putting up with Trump anymore. And you barely heard a whisper, but we had a handful of people here in town at one of the main intersections, and that was it. And these are the same old crowd.
Down some streets, which they accomplished in was it Pennsylvania or someplace?
Yeah, but this was going to shut down America. This is going to make the January 6th protest look like a Boy Scout camp, and nothing happened. Here's the thing: they didn't have their USAID money to fund all those paid actors to be bussed in, and so it didn't happen. The point is that the media talks like the whole country's done with Trump, and are you tired of this? Did you really vote for this? And the average conservative says, yes, I really voted for this. I really want this, and he's only getting started, and I want to see more of it. And so, yeah, we could take the wind out of their sails. We've got to stay the course.
Well,
And that's what the message-
the other thing is I've got the McCloskeys coming on next, and he has stifled me because he's representing most of the people that were pardoned of the 1/6er crowd.
He's a fearless hero.
He's busy, huh?
He's a fearless hero. I
Well, he's a tough guy. Him and his wife, man, they stood out in their yard, and they
are proof, Dave. They are absolute proof of what happens when our side chooses. It's a choice. We choose not to roll over. We choose to stand. And they shattered that whole leftist onslaught, not only against them, but against all
those
of us.
people to disappear, just go away. And they had two guns. One was a rifle, and one was a pistol. And the wife had the pistol. And they're facing 350 people. Antifa, Black Lives Matter, with a congresswoman there, Carrie Bush. Okay, remember that?
And this is the battle we face. This is the thing we need to understand. The reason the left, they didn't hurt anybody, by the way. They did not harm a single hair on anybody's head, but they stood up to them. Okay, that's the last thing. That's the last message that the left wants America to have.
You know who got sued? They did.
Oh yeah.
It made them feel uncomfortable.
Yep.
350 people. Oh, we're uncomfortable.
Right. And how many times have we rolled over with that? Again, I'm going to go back to Mike Johnson with every one of these things because he's still trying to color inside the lines.
Okay,
Mike,
but
if you're
he
listening,
is being controlled by Trump. They don't have a lot of room for slackers there in the House.
Then
we're very light on that.
Then
What do you do?
promote the bills, take the votes, and call out the names of the ones that don't stand with you. And
I'm agreeing with that. You got a problem with the doctor in the Senate.
Oh yeah, Rand Paul. At this point, if we had time, I'd go into Rand Paul and he is absolutely what he is doing is he's torpedoing his own political career because he's gambling. He's gambling that the tariffs won't work, and he'll be able to say, "I was the smartest one of the class."
Well, and he's taking a Liz Cheney kind of
he
role.
absolutely is. He's also doing everything he can to encourage the Chinese to stand up to Trump, because if you stand up long enough, I'm going to get our side to fold. And then I'll be the smart one. You got your unfair trade.
China, I believe, is getting with it now. They're into heavy negotiations.
Oh, they will be.
With the Trump administration, because things ain't going so good for them.
Their economy is crashing.
It'll hurt us too, but not as much as it will them.
Well, once we get past this, once they actually work, you're going to see things blossom in this country like you've never seen before. And that's what the left fears most. The last thing the left wants is a flourishing, happy, thriving America, because at that point, people say, I don't need Democrats.
There you go. Well, you know what? I got halfway through my stuff, maybe even more than halfway.
I didn't get through any of mine. I really got some. We ought to talk about what's going on in England next time you have me on.
All right. Well, I'll get you back. You know that. I like you. Despite what everyone else says, I like you. I think you're really good. Okay, so other than Dave Weinbaum Show, where can people find and buy your book?
You can find it at Amazon. You just go in there and do a search on my name, Christopher Adamo, or Rules for Defeating Radicals. And it's still, the more our side plays according to my rules, the more we win. It's still needed across America because there's a lot of people who haven't gotten the message yet.
Okay, mute.
Cuss
me out.
Lisa, you're going to bail me out. I need it, Lisa.
I'm going to say it again. A mute. Cuss me out in sign language. He was a land mime. Gotcha. All right. Thank you so much, Chris. Well, he doesn't understand it. Okay, look up a mime. Golly. Well, you see, the problem with you is you don't have enough words. You're a writer, for goodness sakes. Look it up.
Okay. Have a good weekend. Keep fighting a good fight.
I have a wife. All right.
We'll
take
talk
care,
to you
buddy.
soon. Bye-bye.
Bye. All right. Let's give him a round of applause. Yeah, he ain't hearing it, but what the hell? He deserved it. All right. So let's play a couple more of these things because I want Tyrus in there too. Where are we at?
12 now.
12. Okay, 12 and 13. Let's play that. We're going to have somebody come on pretty soon.
Every award that was given out had to do with something covering Biden. The photograph of the year, guys, of 2024 was a photo of Biden walking away from the podium after he signed the billion dollars worth of aid to Ukraine.
Mm-hmm.
That was the photo of the year?
Yeah.
Not the bullet whizzing through the head or the fight photograph of President Trump.
That's true.
Every story, every coverage that they gave themselves awards for had to do with President Biden. And to sit there during that particular speech where it's like watching someone or hearing someone see the light halfway dim, halfway past, it was unconscionable to sit there and have everyone ignore the beast, the elephant in the room, which was Fox. To your point, that we've been saying it the whole time.
They should have acknowledged it. That dude should have said, except for Fox.
All right, thinking about elephants in the room, suddenly my next guest appears, who I rarely recognize because he's so damn busy. He's a busy guy. Him and his wife, Pat, and Pat is not here.
Nope,
Can you hear
he's
me?
not here. Nope.
Not there. All right. Well, anyways, they are. We were just talking about you with Chris Adamo, and these are two of the best heroes in America. This is what our Constitution is all about: defending their own home from rape, murder. One with a rifle, one with a little pistol, and BLM, Antifa, and Congresswoman Cori Bush. Please welcome, all the way from St. Louis, I think, Mark McCloskey. Yeah. Okay, so how goes it now? You're defending a lot of the 1-6ers.
Well, not defending them. I'm representing them on compensation claims. We're hoping to that the new administration will recognize the wrongs that were done and compensate these folks for the kind of abuse that they suffered. I got to tell your audience that never before in American history have people been treated the way J6 defendants were. People that were charged with no more than misdemeanor trespass had tanks show up in their front yard, helicopters circling their house, 35 SWAT people in full combat gear, kick in their doors, plaster laser sights all over their 4-year-old kids, drag them out in the snow, get the FBI arresting people on misdemeanors. The FBI does not prosecute misdemeanors, going to federal prison for misdemeanors. The other prisoners say, "What the heck are you here for?" "Well, I got a misdemeanor trespass." "And you're in federal prison?" I mean, it's just ridiculous. Yeah. Just ridiculous.
Well, so who's gonna get these FBI guys arrested, and all the other guys that are running the FBI?
Yeah. Well, here's my concept, right? You get the ground level FBI agent on the stand. You get him in a deposition. You say, what kind of a reprehensible bastard do you have to be to point a machine gun at a 4-year-old or into her crib for that matter, which happened? And he's going to say, well, look, I hated to do it, but I was ordered to do it by so-and-so. So then you take so-and-so's deposition, say, what kind of a reprehensible bastard are you to order your officers to go and attack people in their homes with machine guns for a trespass charge? And he says, oh, I wouldn't have done that, but I was ordered to do it by so-and-so. Eventually, we're going to get up to Merrick Garland and Christopher Wray and
Biden and whoever else was in the Biden administration probably giving these orders. Maybe
Absolutely.
Even Barack Obama.
Absolutely. Well, or Jill Biden, since she was running cabinet meetings. Dr. Jill.
Believe that? She actually ran his last meeting, his last administration meeting. Could you imagine Trump doing that?
Well, I'd like Melania running a cabinet meeting. At least she'd be attractive.
Actually, she could probably do it. I don't know.
She can do it in 11 languages.
So, other than that, how goes the defense of these 1-6ers? You're into the getting them money. Where's this money going to come from?
Well, my concept would be that it comes from unused DEI funds, right? Okay. Because actually, getting equity for the J6ers is an important thing. So far, well, let me do it this way, Dave, and your audience. Out of the 350 to 500 BLM guys that tore down my fence, stormed my house, threatened to kill me, rape and murder my wife, even burn down my house, burn down my office building, and even kill my dog, not one of them did a day in jail. On January 6th, moms and pops that were just there to support their president, walking through open doors, being greeted by Capitol police officers, shaking their hands, high-fiving them, having, thanking them for their duty, singing the national anthem in the Capitol building. These people got prison time, in federal prison,
And not one of them was armed, according to the FBI.
If
he had any guns.
If this was an insurrection, it was the most poorly organized insurrection in the history of the planet. No guns, no weapons, everybody just having. One of the judges said in question of what would be my motivation for doing something illegal, he says, the fact that you sang the national anthem is all the motivation I need to hear.
There you go. Yeah, is that Bosbart?
Yeah.
What happened to him? He's out of the news lately.
I don't know. After he's slamming the president, he was he of course was a judge in our friend Ryan Zink's case.
Yeah,
and all these guys are real stinkers though, and every one of these judges that I've heard about prejudge the cases, right? Whether they're jury trials or bench trials, judge-tried cases. The judge would call the defendants criminals, terrorists, insurrectionists
in front of the jury.
Yeah.
We just have to find the crime. We know they're criminals. They're Trump supporters. We just have to find the crime. Isn't that about what that is?
Yeah, that's what it is. It's just like Soviet show trials. We have to have a trial before we hang you.
Yeah, exactly.
But I'll tell you an interesting story though. 2 weeks ago, tomorrow, we went up to Concord and Lexington up in Massachusetts for the 250th anniversary of Paul Revere's ride. The beginning of the revolution, the shot heard around the world. And you would think that on the 250th anniversary of the beginning of this country, all the Republican governors would be there, all the Republican senators, all the Republican congressmen, all the patriots would be there to celebrate the first shot in the war for independence. Not a single Republican other than Patty and I were there. Really? Not a single congressman, not a senator, not a governor. The only politician that showed up was a leftist governor of Massachusetts.
What are they afraid of?
I don't know. I've never seen so much anti-Trump hate in my life. Everybody carrying anti-Trump signs. I was wearing my bike jacket that's got a big American flag across the back. I heard unsolicited Trump-hating rhetoric all around me just for wearing that jacket.
Wow.
I mean, that's what we're...
refresh my memory a little bit. What state was this?
Massachusetts.
Massachusetts, yeah.
Didn't we have a Republican candidate for governor by the name of Romney that was actually governor of Massachusetts once?
Yeah.
Yeah. There's what kind of a Republican he might be.
Well, he's not around anymore, is he?
No.
Yeah, he's gone. He's a rhino now.
Yeah.
He's a bad rhino. Rhino went home.
Somebody sawed his horn off. He's not even a rhino anymore.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, he's impotent now. Not important. He's impotent.
Exactly.
Right? So Dems who went to Venezuela, was it a taxpayer paid vacation?
Gosh, I don't know.
5-star hotels, best meals, accommodations, everything went into that.
Yeah.
And they're looking to get, L something or other, who is a proven MS-13 tattooed and a trafficker of women and children, apparently. And they want this nice, I guess it's a Massachusetts guy, back with his wife.
Yeah.
Children.
I'm
going to cry. I feel so bad.
The wife that he's routinely beating, by the way.
Yeah, right. Exactly. Who hides his tattoos using, stuff that clides them.
Yeah.
Balloons and things like that to make it look like such a happy crew.
Well, I had a client one time, kind of a rough guy, and we had him on a personal injury case, and he'd just gotten out of prison, and he had Nazi on his knuckles, right? And I said, you know what? The day before your deposition, I bet you're going to hurt your hand, and that's going to have to be in a bandage, right?
And what did he say?
He said, absolutely.
Yeah. It's funny. I mean, I'm out here. I stay where the customers are in my businesses and things like that. Guy comes in, he's got swastikas all over him, and so I just and he's waiting to get waited at, and I says, "Can I ask you a question?" He says, "Yeah." He says, "I happen to be Jewish, and those things are kind of offensive to me, but I don't care if if you want to just pay for the money and go." I says, "But why are you wearing those things?" He says, "I don't know." And he says, I says, "Don't worry, I'm just here to get food." I says, "Okay, see ya." Okay.
Yeah.
And I let him know I was there and I was a Jew. Okay, and I didn't like it.
Yeah. You didn't tell him you owned the restaurant, though, did you?
I don't think so. No.
Yeah.
But I would have. I don't care.
Yeah.
What are they gonna do? All right.
What are they gonna do?
Everybody knows who I am here. Everybody knows my name pretty much.
Yeah.
And I'm 53 years in the restaurant business, 50 of it here in this town.
Yeah.
And people know me.
Yeah, I think people wear symbolism. I think people wear swastikas and satanic stuff just because they think it looks cool, and it doesn't really reflect their political philosophy. And they're probably not smart enough to understand it if they did.
Probably not. Probably. And now people are getting on other people for wearing crosses.
Yeah.
So look out, all you Catholics out there, and all you Baptists, and you got your cross on.
There you go.
There you go. See,
I'm a bad dude.
Huh? You're a bad dude. What are you doing? He's, this guy, every time he comes on, he tries to unbutton his shirt because he's buff. Yeah, there you go.
My modesty.
You're all over. You're all over YouTube and TikTok via the program. Look on it. Look on the Dave Weinbaum show. You're all over the places.
I'll do
with
it.
Thousands of people listening to the clips of you. It's in the shorts part.
All right. Well, I'll do it. I'll check it out, man.
It's really cool.
I gave up my own blog and program so that I could spend 100% of my time working on these J6ers cases.
Yeah.
But there's 1,583 of these people that got arrested. The biggest manhunt in American history. But I tell you, the scenario almost universally goes like this. They go into an open building through a door that's opened for them by the government. They go in there for my shortest period of time. One guy was in there for 6 seconds. Got arrested for having his foot in, foot out. But they go in for a few minutes. They don't engage in any violence. This is a vast majority of them. The FBI comes and knocks on the door, a month, 2 months, 4 years later. When I talked to him yesterday, he got arrested October 23rd of 2024, the week before the election. Asks him a few questions, says, "Oh, I don't think this is a big deal. You'll never see us again." A month later, 2 months later, 2 years later, door smashes open. There's a tank on the front yard, helicopters circling, machine guns pointed at them and their wives and their kids. And then they get on the no-fly list, or they get on what they call the Quad S, the SSSS on their boarding pass, where not just the guys that are actually in D.C., but their wives, their minor children, their in-laws, everybody gets a full strip searching at the airport, a 2-hour-long process, not just at TSA, but then once again at the gate. Even if you can see TSA from the gate, they do it again just to harass and embarrass people. And people that they surveilled for months and months and months. And they knew their routines. And they knew where they went to work. And they knew where they went to school. And they knew where they'd be every day. They would wait until the most embarrassing moment when their neighbors are out, when their kids are getting off the school bus, to come and raid their houses.
These people need to be tried. And in a lot of cases, they need to be hung.
Absolutely. I think that we have never come so close. I believe in my heart of hearts. I've been doing this for a long time now, and I've been following the J6ers since the day it happened. But I believe that this was a plan by the deep state to end the country. That they wanted to foment a
deep state. Is that just America?
No, I think it's.
Are there other countries involved?
I think it's. I think it's a great reset, folks. I think it's Klaus Schwab and the Great Reset and the World Economic Forum. I think it's all one big worldwide effort.
I don't know how far these guys are going to go. Bondi and I
hope they go all the way to the top.
I hope they go all the way and have our support. And people got to know that it doesn't. That when you're dealing with the law, it takes some time. So I'm saying Trump 28. Trump 28.
Hang on, I got to
Hey,
take
your phone or our phone?
Hey,
Oh God, is that the President Trump on there?
No, unfortunately, it's not. I got to call this one back though, so I got to turn this off. Oh, I wish you were President Trump. I tell you what, if he made me Attorney General, I'd some heads would roll.
Well, you said you didn't want to.
Yeah, I know. You know,
Well,
right?
all right. Well, are you not happy with what she's doing, Bondi, or is there
No, I didn't say
people
that. I
underneath
think-
her who are objecting to her? I know there's FBI agents who don't like cash.
Yeah. Well, you know, the problem is they're a little busy right now. I think they've got 115 injunctions that they're fighting. I think Pam Bondi's is just so overloaded right now. There's so much hate out there. There's so much Trump derangement syndrome that as every word Trump says, there's some radical judge out there someplace that enjoins it. Right? You just can't move forward. And so then the beautiful thing about Donald Trump is he doesn't sleep. All he does is issue edicts 24 hours a day. And the evil bastards that are trying to slap him down, they can't keep up. I mean, it's like the mother duck with all these little ducklings chasing behind.
Yeah, and they're all going, and if they even blink, he's gone already. Okay, he's on a golf course somewhere. He's playing with Joaquin, whatever his name is, and he's playing golf with the guy who's getting hell because he's a black guy.
Yeah,
and he says, "Why are you giving me hell now? I played with Barack Obama. Nobody said a word."
Yeah.
You know.
So I was up in D.C. a couple of weeks ago, and I was talking to one of the guys who's a friend of the president. And I say, you know, the problem is if the president doesn't sleep and all he does is work all day and all night. He says that's not true. He sleeps 4 hours a day.
Yeah, somewhere. Probably he's in the plane a lot. So
Yeah,
I mean, he probably sleeps there, but he holds meetings there too, and the press is on there.
Yeah, 2 o'clock in the morning.
Imagine anybody, even yourself, having the press with you every single day in every single meeting.
Yeah,
they're still nasty mostly, but a lot of them are. You know, they're lightening up a little bit because they got access. What do they have under Biden?
Yeah, nothing. Well, you can't have access to Biden because nobody was home.
Well, that's true, but that means they don't. I mean, they're not hurt.
Well, I'll harken back to the oldie days and when France was ruled by a king. Even if you're Louis XIV and the most powerful person in the world in those days, your wife had to get dressed in front of the public. She had to have her babies in front of the public. The Palace of Versailles, the concept was that although he was the supreme leader, that he was the leader of the people, and therefore the Versailles belonged to the people. And everything they did was in public. They go into the bathroom, having sex, having babies, getting dressed.
What are you talking about?
I mean, it's true. It's true. And now,
they're outside making love with each other.
Yeah,
they couldn't go inside the pad.
Inside in their bedrooms. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it was incredible, and people forget how different the world was in those days. And now we treat our king, our president, like he's made out of soft crystal. And if anybody brushes up against him, you know, oh my God, it's a terrorist attack. But you know, we've all become a little bit more sensitive.
Well, yeah, I mean, but we're not sensitive to the fact that everybody's kvetching about what's going on in El Salvador.
Yeah.
And I don't know. Did you ever listen to Gutfeld's show?
Oh yeah, but now you're using Yiddish on me, kvetching.
Well, you can handle it. You got Catholic words, I'm sure, about me. You know that you probably ain't going to use this show, but I understand.
Yeah,
Some of my best friends are Catholic.
Yeah, one of our good Catholic words is Meshuggah, which applies to you, right?
Meshuggah, that's right. Oh, I'm great. Yeah. Ask my family. Say, what the hell? You're nuts. Yeah, nuts. I said, all right, well, and you're old. I said, yeah. Well, I'm probably going to stay that way because I was nuts when I was younger.
Yeah.
I was so nutty that I came down to a small town in Missouri and opened up a McDonald's that nobody wanted except for one guy, and that was Ray Kroc.
You're right.
Yeah, and I did well. So
yeah. Well, that is kind of what we call the American way, right?
Well, the interesting thing is now I can say pretty much anything I want to say.
Yeah.
All right. And I'm very happy, by the way, and I'm thanking you. Other than the fact that your lovely bride is not here, because she's good too.
Oh, she is.
She's on those clips too.
Yeah. Yeah, I wish you were, but unfortunately, like I said, there's only 1,583 J6ers, so we're not the slightest bit busy.
So let me ask you this, and I know this is not in your working schedule, but what are your thoughts about the tariffs?
You know, I think I particularly with China, and I said this when I was running for U.S. Senate, I'm be very serious about this. China is actively seeking to take over the world, actively seeking to destroy the United States economically, financially, and militarily. They say it every day. They make no bones about it. Their Belt Road Initiative is to circumvent the world with ports and industry, which is where the small impoverished countries then become absolutely beholden to and owned by China. If we don't crush China now while we still have a chance, we are just absolutely toast. Our country will be gone. We'll be one more slave state. It has to happen. And I wish the president had been more upfront. I wish President Trump, when he started to impose these tariffs, said, look, it's going to be painful. It may be very painful for a while, but if we don't do something to restrain China now, we will never have another chance, and we will not survive.
Are we going to follow through with the Panama Canal?
I'm sorry?
Are we going to follow through with the Panama Canal?
I sure as hell hope so.
Being run by China? And
you know, when we gave the Panama Canal back to Panama, I couldn't, you know, and then we said, hey, if we need it, we can take it back. Yeah, well, you know, takes an army to take it back, maybe. But 30,000 Americans died to build the canal, and we give it away, and now China controls it. Such BS.
Gave it away for $1.
Yeah.
But it had to be under Panama's name. It's right now it's under China's name, or that might have changed recently. So I think we're going back there, and I don't think China's going to have a war over this either.
Well, you know, they've got their economy's in trouble right now.
Yep.
They've got a demographic crisis where they don't have a next generation. They've got decreasing population. They're in a world of hurt. But what happens when an animal gets cornered? Right, it tends to lash out, and so you got to worry about that.
And they have, and they're upset a little bit. But I think Trump is playing this just right. He's saying what a great guy Z is. You know, the head of the CCP, and I think they're working on it right now. I mean, so it's evidence that they're going to make a deal somewhere. Hopefully, it'll be a good deal for them, relatively, and us as well.
Well, you know, I was shopping at Hobby Lobby the other day. Hobby Lobby is owned by a good Christian gentleman that a lot of the left hates because he's a good Christian gentleman. But I tried to find something in his store that wasn't made in China, and it's almost impossible. You know? Yeah. Go to Walmart, try to find something made in the United States.
And Walmart is having some pretty good news in terms of their stock price. So things are looking up. You know, I think.
Well, the employment figures came out today, and we have decreased government employment and increased private sector employment for the first time in a long time. And that's really good news. And the market's way up today because of the good economic news. But of course, the left is calling this the worst quarter in the history of the country.
Now, are you an investor?
You know, I invest in freedom. Yes, I'm an investor.
Oh my God. You're such a knockoff. I don't know who, but you're a knockoff. That's what you are. But okay, so did you panic and sell some stocks and say, "Oh my God, I'm in this"?
No, I dumped a whole lot of more money in the market.
Yeah. Okay. So did I. I didn't do a whole lot of money because I got a daughter who's in business. I'm kind of backing her, and I bought some stuff. You know, a house, cars, and. And paid cash, and now but I did do a little bit of AI. Boeing I thought was a good thing. I picked up that Planeteer, I think it is, and Nvidia. And Nvidia was down recently, and now it's popping back up again.
Yeah, good time to buy.
Tesla. I bought Tesla at 224. Okay, about a week and a half ago.
Yeah.
How was that? I mean, it's probably 290 right now.
Yeah, and you saw that yesterday, I guess, in the news that the board of Tesla is thinking of firing Elon Musk.
Oh, really?
Yeah, they want to replace him because he's spending too much time. At least this is what the leftist media report is. Who knows if it's true?
Yeah, right.
Spending too much time on Doge to run Tesla. So
I think he's got more in it than that. What does he own? Like 15% of it?
Yeah.
Yeah, but I don't think that's going anywhere, quite frankly. That's one of the reasons I'm going to buy, because I knew his time was getting up, and he's not going to do this forever.
Yeah,
he's going to go back to do something.
Yeah.
A lot of it is going to be innovative. He's got these small houses they make, like $3,000 homes.
Yeah,
and they're small, but they're kind of comfortable. And if you're a young person, you can afford a house and all that stuff. That's kind of neat, isn't it?
Yeah. Not my taste, but I understand there's a market for it.
Oh, you're just you're an old time kind of rich guy. You're out there, but you're also an American, and you protect your property and with your life.
Yeah,
that's pretty good.
Yeah,
you and your wife. Okay.
Yeah, and when she's out there in front of the house facing a mob that wants to kill her, and all she's got is that little dumbass pistol, but the look on her face was worth more than any gun in the world.
Oh, she looked tough.
She did.
She looked tough. All right.
No one's gonna mess with her. I can tell you that.
Yeah. She's protecting her husband.
Yeah.
Wait. We got a picture of that. Hold on.
I might have it.
All right. Let's see.
All right. Give me 1 second. And
Give him a second.
All right. There we go.
There it is. Look at that. This is the modern day. What were they called in the old days? The man and the wife used to steal at banks.
Bonnie and Clyde.
Bonnie and Clyde, right there, ladies and gentlemen. And they are the Bonnie and Clyde of America.
All right.
That should give them a round of applause for that. All right. On that note, my friend, other than Dave Weinbaum Show, where can people find and hire you? Where can they find and hire you?
At McCloskeylaw.com. That's McCloskeylaw.com. You can catch me on my X is at McCloskey USA. I'm on Rumble. I'm Mark McCloskey on Fire, although I haven't done a new show in 3 weeks because I'm now currently 100% occupied in doing the J6 cases. You can contact us either through my law firm or Peter Tickton's law firm, and that's pt@legalbrains.com. P as in Paul, T as in Thomas, @legalbrains.com. And that's the other half of my team with the J6ers. That's Peter Tickton's office.
That's
Peter,
great.
by the way, just for your audience that may not know his name, Peter and President Trump were roommates in military school. And Peter went on to become a lawyer and has been Trump's personal lawyer and friend ever since. So a pretty good guy to have on the team.
Yeah. And it's great because this little speech is longer than the interview. So, anyhow, how do you slow down big birds?
How do you do that?
Goosebumps. All right, so
he's got a million of them.
I got a million of them. What the hell? All right, thank you so much. Hi to your lovely bride.
I sure will, Dave.
Bonnie and Clyde, right here. All right, thanks, pal.
Take care.
Good luck. Thanks for being on the show for this. Okay, I appreciate that.
My pleasure.
I want an update every once in a while. Okay.
Absolutely.
All right. Thanks a lot, pal.
Bye-bye.
Oh, and look what walks in the door.
So I wanted to make sure and make an announcement just so everybody's aware that next week's show will be a special because we're going to be on Thursday instead of Friday because, just like we did a little while ago, I've got an event I need to be at. So little different show next week. So next Thursday we'll be live again at 8 o'clock Central Time.
Yeah. Well, who are you? Yeah. Okay, I remember. All right.
He talking to you, JP? Yeah. Well, I know who he is. That's JP.
Yeah.
So,
no, I was looking at you though.
Oh, okay.
For a minute, I you look like you're taller or something.
I am taller.
Yeah.
I'm taller than you, for instance.
Everybody's taller than me. Everybody's taller than me. So I have with me State Representative Chicken Tender who got the price of eggs down 100%.
I was solely responsible for that.
I know. He's an engineer, a man.
I flooded the market with
a man who is like a donkey who counts. He's a smartass. Please welcome all the way from Crocker, Missouri, Don Mayhew. And look at he answers to that too. She's a smart ass joke.
Your crowd appears to be bigger today.
Well, it seems like they're out there. You know, we're paying a little overtime because you came in.
Yeah.
Right. So, anyways, have you written the bill to destroy number 3, like you said you did the other day? You wrote the bill, but Bill Hardwick, your friend and opponent, he actually got in front and made a great speech about it.
Yeah, so there's some that do, and some that just, take credit for other people's hard work. So no, I'm kidding. There, I had a bill that, that I felt like was something that would pass the muster. Get past, or that the voters would vote for.
Is this before or after this thing was passed?
Oh, this is way before. We filed this very early in session. So and it was a lot of hard work. Had a lot of help from Tricia Burns, state representative. We did a lot of groundwork on trying to find out what it was that where people's concerns were and what they would be interested in seeing. There was a lot of folks out there who had had a little bit of buyer's remorse. They were mainly looking for something that gave a rape and incest exception, but then didn't realize, and hey, it's on them. They didn't read the bill, or perhaps didn't have the ability to analyze it for what it really was. And then once they found out what was in it, they, as it turns out, we found a lot of folks out there who wanted a second shot at it. And so the final bill and my bill was more of from a clarification standpoint. For instance, the supporters of the bill said that transgender operations wasn't in there. Well, my bill addressed that to make sure that, yes, absolutely, that's not in there. Government funding of abortions included that in there. Parental consent and notification was in.
Hey, JP,
was in my
can
bill.
you play that baby clip? Sorry to interrupt.
And I also, we had played with a conscience protection in there for healthcare workers that didn't want to participate in abortions. And then late term abortion, Now
you say this is after that bill passed.
No, this was all
this is before. Okay.
Yeah. So some of the components.
So you had a choice. Was that voted on?
No.
Why not?
Because we were working on a bill at the time, and you don't want 8 or 10, pro-life bills going to committee one right after another. And so the idea is that we'd see how far we got with the bill they were working on. And so there were 2 or 3 attempts. And so then the final bill, Trish and I had talked to leadership about where we thought we were at in the process as far as something that would be workable, and leadership agreed. And so they then began working on a substitute for the kind of the first try. And so then components of Trish and I's bill were utilized in the final bill, which is HJR 73.
Okay. I want people to see this baby in a womb at 32 weeks as to what we're talking about right now.
Yeah.
If you can relate to this, because now Missouri is actually known as an abortion state.
Oh yeah, God, we are.
Yeah. So that's not good.
No, that's
hit it.
Nenê do pai. Oh, meu Deus do céu, gente.
I know what to do.
Ela tá feliz, meu Deus do céu. Bebê. Mas, gente do céu. Nenê do pai. Oh, meu Deus do céu, gente.
I mean, she can understand.
It's not a human being.
Yeah, exactly.
And
exactly.
So the pin that I'm wearing, of course, is it's that 6-week pin. These are the size of a baby's feet at
6 weeks.
At 9 weeks, and so I mean, that's not a human being. I mean, those are feet. I mean, I know that people can't see it, but
and smiling from the womb.
Right
at 32 weeks, she understood something was happening out there, and it was referring to her.
Right.
And she smiled.
Yeah.
I mean,
and that's and certainly late term abortion, the third trimester abortion.
Oh
everyone,
my gosh!
I think everyone. I mean, I think polls have even shown that 85 to 90% think that that's barbaric, and which it is.
How did
absolutely.
people not understand that and vote against it?
Yeah.
What happened?
So they were. Lie would be a strong word, but I'd say that it comes closest to the word lie, and that I saw television commercials that never mentioned abortion once from the proponents of in support of Amendment 3. Well, I don't know how you can have a television commercial about a bill, or I'm sorry, a proposal that was strictly about abortion without using the word abortion anywhere in it. And so they used a lot of things like women's health and things like that. And quite honestly, we had passed House Bill 126 back in my first year in the legislature. And, that was actually the strongest thing to protect women's health. This thing here, this Amendment 3 that passed, actually encourages back alley abortions. And then for those who are participating in these back alley or, shopping mall clinics, quote unquote, where anybody considered a healthcare professional can perform an abortion.
Yeah.
If the mother died in that process, they could not be prosecuted for anything, not even negligent homicide.
And they don't have to be doctors.
And their license, let's say an EMT, let's use the extreme, but an EMT is considered a healthcare professional. A healthcare professional is not qualified to do abortions. However, if an EMT did an abortion, the state of Missouri couldn't even remove their license for doing the abortion. Let's say a botched abortion. Let's say they killed the mother.
Yeah.
Well, we couldn't even remove their license for doing that, for them practicing outside of the scope of their license. You couldn't even do it because the amendment clearly says they cannot be prosecuted for participating in, assisting, or otherwise performing an abortion. Sure. And so literally that means that anyone can perform an abortion, and you don't have to be, it says right in there, assisting with an abortion. You're not required to be qualified healthcare professional of any kind. But a dental hygienist, I mean, people say, oh, that's ridiculous, that's extreme.
That's Stone Age kind of stuff.
But we have seen other things, and you can imagine a situation where somebody decided they were going to get in that business, right? And decided that they were going to do that, and then ended up killing somebody. Some lady, unfortunately poorly informed, and then not being able to, state of Missouri could not prosecute them for anything, not even the removal of their license, because what the Constitution says. And so,
do you have questions?
No, right now.
Okay.
Well, so that's what people are saying, that we are repealing Amendment 3 and that we're violating the will of the voters. Well, I'm not exactly sure what the will of the voters is, but this doesn't repeal.
Well, according to Bill, he had 71% vote for him, and yet a majority voted against him on the bill. Like 85% voted for the bill, and 71% voted for him, and that he was somehow. He was confused because they overwhelmingly
no, that what he was saying was now in his district, which is all in Pulaski County, which is my home county also. So I had a little bit less than a third that voted for. Now, out of that, there was about 1,800 voters in my district, which is bright red conservative.
Right.
That voted in favor of Amendment 3, but also voted for me. I think that's what he was saying.
Yeah.
Was that even though in his district it passed by 71% of the vote.
But you both campaigned against Amendment 3.
Oh, absolutely, 100%.
Yeah, so that's clear. The point is that how did people not misunderstand what you were telling them about how horrible this is?
Well, it's because I don't think that did not enter into their decision-making process. They were not a single issue voter. So in other words, they voted for Bill, or in my case, they voted for me,
right?
But they also voted for Amendment 3 because they were not single issue voters. right? They weren't voting for me or Bill because we were pro-life. Well, they were voting for us because of our stance on issues related to freedom and the limitation of the federal government and those kind of things.
Well, and I think it's clear that if we didn't have votes from major cities like Kansas City and St. Louis, the more metropolitan type areas, I don't think it would have passed without that. I mean, it was the big cities that really pushed that across the finish line.
Which brings up initiative petition reform. Mm-hmm. So we have passed that out of the House in the Missouri House of Representatives every year since I've been there, and including the 3 years prior that I know of. So for 10 years in a row, we passed one form or another of initiative petition reform out of the Missouri House of Representatives, and yet somehow the Senate can't manage to do that. It's a critical problem in that we see that a lot. I mean, me personally, I have a bill that relates to catalytic converters. I know I bring this up a lot, but it's a perfect example of what I'm talking about. It's gotten as many as 153 votes in the floor of the House of Representatives. Every single time I brought it up, it's gotten over. The least number of votes was 123 votes. And you got to keep in mind that on that day, there were 11 people who were not there. And there was a handful of votes against it. And when I say handful, I think the maximum number of votes against that bill is 6.
Cadillac converters.
What the hell is that? What it does is it makes it harder for you to sell a stolen catalytic converter.
Oh, okay.
Okay. And it puts accountability on those who are buying them. Because as the gentleman said in Iowa with a similar bill, he said, if they ain't buying them, they ain't going to be stealing them. Now, he didn't say ain't because I don't think they say ain't in Iowa.
No, quit making fun of people. That's where I draw the line.
But
You're making fun of people.
The point of that is I can't even get a Senate hearing for that bill. Okay, well, you got to ask yourself the question why, and I wish voters would. Why some of those things, and there are several bills like that we can't move through the Senate. We can't even get hearings on them in the Missouri Senate that are good things that affect people every day, real live people, not special interest group, not lobbyists, not those who represent those, but these are things that affect Missourians' lives every day. The problem that the people have is that, like I tell folks all the time, I said, well, unfortunately, there's no association of people who have had a catalytic converter stolen. And so therefore they don't have a lobbyist. Well, that's unfortunate. Because truthfully, every elected representative up there, whether you're in the Senate or in the House, you are the lobbyist for the constituents in your area.
Sure.
But more importantly, I'm a state representative, which means that not only do I have to consider the effects on my district, but I have to consider the effects of whatever we do on the people generally throughout the state of Missouri, whether they be Republican or Democrat.
Somewhat outside the state, too.
Well, I'm going to let Illinois worry about Illinois.
They got a lot to worry about, don't they?
Yeah, absolutely.
Every time I get online, Don, it says there are no illegal aliens in Missouri. Are you sure you're not hoarding them on your chicken factory LLC?
So there's probably that's probably straining at the legal hairs, so to speak, because the folks came into the country illegally, but we gave them temporary status because they claimed that they were being persecuted in the country they came from.
Yeah.
Well, over 80% of those, I think the last number I saw was 85% of those who claim refugee status really aren't refugees at all. They just claim the status because that way they got to stay in the country.
Right.
Then the remainder of those folks, they simply came here for a job and temporarily. And we talk all the time about, the lettuce will never get picked in California without these folks. Right. But whenever when you analyze that, those folks already go back and forth.
Yes.
It's because the one area where we had a weakness in our immigration thing, because we never really needed it, I guess, was a temporary worker status permit. But that's because it was the same folks every year or their families that regularly crossed the borders. They would come in on a tourist visa or whatever.
Are you saying there were enough Americans to do that job? And
no.
Were they willing?
Well, so now you're going to get me off on a different tangent. So I don't want to get too far into the weeds.
Well, you're intangible, so go ahead.
But we do. Honestly, we have.
I don't know what that means, but it sounded good.
Well, we have enough people to do these jobs. We truly do.
Okay.
It's whether or not they will. So let me explain that a little bit. Right now, if you're 26 years old, you can be declared homeless if you don't pay rent or don't pay a mortgage, even though you are sleeping in the same bed that you have for the last 26 years. That makes you eligible for Medicaid expansion. That makes you eligible for food stamps. And in some cases, even what we call TANF, which is like cash money. They put on a little credit card for you. Now, keeping in mind that your status hasn't changed one iota from the time you turned 18 as an adult to the time you're 26. And like I said, you're still sleeping in the basement of your mom and dad's house. And all you have to do then, because your health care is taken care of, and now you've got plenty of money for Cheetos. And so you can sit around and play your first-person shooter games and eat Cheetos all day. Well, what a great life, right?
Sounds pretty good to me.
Okay, so right here in Missouri, on the low end of that, that's about 13,000 people who could go to work right now, just in that category alone.
Yeah.
So our big problem right now in Missouri is that our labor participation rate, and we are similar to every state in the union, our labor participation rate is at historic lows. But there's about 10% of the folks who, after COVID, made a decision one way or the other about whether or not they were going to pursue another career or continue to work or whatever. And so that about 5.2% of those folks are in that category are people who would have normally had a second career. I'm talking about retired teachers and retired military folks who said, nah, the heck with it.
Yeah.
I don't want to have to put up with that crap anymore.
So now they're sort of coddled into not working.
Well, so they decided they'd enjoy their retirement.
Yeah.
But we would normally get the benefit from those folks. Well, 2.3% of those folks are people who just can't find daycare. They either can't find it or they can't afford it, right? They were dual income families before, making in the 80s to the 90s. And now, perhaps let's use the example that I frequently recite. They were both family members worked on Fort Leonard Wood. They got furloughed during COVID, and then they got both called back to work. But in the meantime, their daycare went closed, or their daycare tripled in price. And so the one spouse would just be working to pay for daycare.
Right.
And so they made the decision. So now that puts them back in the assistance category. So now instead of them being taxpayers, now they are receiving benefits.
Yeah.
Totally ridiculous. Then there's 2.7%, that's 14,000 folks I'm talking about, who are these 26-year-olds that are sitting in the basement of their mom and dad's house playing first-person shooter games and eating Cheetos.
Somebody's got to stop that.
Well, precisely. Well, one of the things would have been, I'm going to bring this back to the initiative petition.
McDonald's is hiring.
Exactly.
Out there. Come on.
Exactly. So on the initiative petition thing, the voters passed Medicaid expansion. Well, just like in Amendment 3, the voters were not familiar with what it said. What it said was all you were doing was providing Medicaid, the health care benefit to what normally would be our age blind and disabled and children and pregnant moms. We're going to extend that same thing to able-bodied people.
How many billions, maybe even trillions of dollars went for that?
Well, I can tell you right now, here in the state of Missouri, it is a $360 million hole in our budget. When I say a hole in our budget, is that the only way we're able to pay for that
is to raise taxes.
Is to use our reserves. Now, $360 million.
Like I said, raise taxes eventually.
Well, precisely, or cut programs. And so here's the reality: is that, and see, folks didn't understand this, and when I tell them, they say, "Well, that's crazy. Why did you do that?" And I said, "I didn't. You did it, right?" And it's this, because that was a constitutional amendment. When we have to cut programs, we will have to cut we will have to cut the eligibility requirements for people at the age, blind, and disabled in order to pay for the Medicaid for able-bodied people, because that's a constitutional amendment, and we are required by the Constitution now to fund that. And so people say that can't be right, and it is 100% correct. Yeah. Now, see, that is why you need initiative petition reform.
We have a failure to communicate. Thank you very much. Yes.
So that was a long, drawn out explanation.
Because you know stuff that they don't, and they don't know stuff that you do.
And that is that's precisely it. That's why we have a republic and not a democracy. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yep.
Right.
So I apologize for that long, drawn out explanation, but that I had to give that example of why we need initiative petition reform.
Here's another thing. As a business guy, they just passed a bill that would stop the free vacations to our employees. In other words, they're going to get vacations, so many hours paid. They're going to get sick pay.
Yeah,
our prices are going to go up. This is McDonald's.
For your segment of the economy, so most certainly in my segment, it changes nothing. I mean,
those chickens ain't going to do much.
If I didn't give my employees enough vacation, they just usually make a vacation for themselves anyway. So it works out fine for everybody. Well, except for me. But no, I'm kidding. My employees already had 3 weeks personal time that they could use for anything they want, sick leave or whatever, and I think most employers out there who had that kind of hourly traditional job, but you're absolutely correct. Who's getting clobbered by this is the fast food industry that had those entry level jobs for high school kids and college kids, but also down at Lake of the Ozarks, where that job only lasts for 3 months. And that employee's not coming back next year because they're going to graduate with their degree.
Right.
And
that's a tough area to own McDonald's. I know the guys down there.
Well, it's not just McDonald's down there. It's the gas docks, it's the restaurants and everything else those folks never had an expectation of having PTO, right?
What's PTO?
Paid time off. And so, wow. So you actually have a part in your HR manual on PTO. And you didn't know what that was.
That's right.
So, amazing.
So for these temporary workers, for seasonal work, they go and draw unemployment on us every single winter.
Yeah.
And now they're going to have this extra at least 40 hours if they accrue it that they can use in addition to that.
Yeah.
So it's just really like double whammy and a kick in the teeth. I'm surprised our Supreme Court sold us out, but I'm not surprised.
Well, I'm not surprised.
Knowing how they're chosen and how liberal leaning they are is why, one of the big problems for Missouri.
Yeah.
And I know that's been looked into about how the Supreme Court selection should be made, but it's not.
Well, how come we could never get that one passed either?
I think
right?
it's because the bar.
Oh God! They spend enormous amounts of money in the Capitol, but it is true. We just to let you know what Lisa's talking about. There is we have what's called the Missouri Plan, and all the trial lawyers love it because their association basically gets to pick who's on the Supreme Court, but also they get to pick who's on our appellate courts too. Well, it doesn't take long to figure out that that's putting the fox in charge of the hen house, right?
Yeah.
So in other states and in the United States, for instance, the president gets to select a name,
right,
and then the Senate does their advise and consent function and then confirms that person. Well, here in Missouri, it doesn't work that way. The Bar Association chooses 3 names, and they say, oh no, that's a panel. Well, only 2 of those people are put on there by the governor. The remaining, I think there's 7 altogether. 2 of them are put on there by the governor. 4 of them are put on there by the Bar Association, and 1 of them is the Chief Justice of the Supreme Court, who was put on there by the Bar Association. So they get 5 votes every single time, and so there's no.
Is that in the Constitution?
No, I think it's statute. I'm pretty sure it's statute. But it's available for us to change.
Change it.
We can change it.
So much goes wrong with our.
I think I would have to check into that, but because I don't ever file that bill, but I'm always in support of it. So
I don't know if I asked you this before. Tell me if I did. What effect will the Trump tariffs have on Missouri?
Okay, so I guess it depends on a lot on what your perception is of what imports, how imports affect Missouri. Okay, so
how about farmers? Let's start with that.
Okay, yeah, so
you are one.
that's an easy one.
Yeah.
So cattle farmers, the tariffs won't affect them too much because we don't export a lot of beef. Why? Because China has a 300% tariff on our beef.
Right.
Now, so you've heard all these things. Oh, the worst it is an average of 45, right?
Yeah.
No, but in the markets that count, right, in automobiles, right, they don't buy our automobiles either. There's a high tariff.
Right.
On beef, huge tariff on our beef. And right now, there is a huge demand in China for American beef, not Brazilian. And see what the Chinese, they don't have a tariff on Brazilian beef, right? But I don't know this for a fact unless you count eating beef out of a can, which that's about all Brazilian beef is fit for. You are not going to enjoy a steak from a cow grown in Brazil.
So it would be a mistake.
It would be a mistake.
Yeah.
JP, I set him up. I set him up for that one.
No, you didn't. You didn't.
So now, I get to be the straight man, and you're the funny guy, right?
You're always the straight man. I'm the funny guy. All right, give me a break here.
Well, most would argue differently on that issue. But so anyway, so what the results of the quote unquote tariff war would be is that if they leveled the playing field, I guarantee you people in China would be buying American beef, I mean, like crazy, right? Because there really isn't a comparison. So now let's talk about the other things, the typical thing you buy at Dollar General or Walmart. It's made in China. So you will see, you'll see if we tariff them, they tariff us, whatever. You'll see an increase in price there. And so you may pay a nickel more for whatever that piece of Chinese junk is that you just absolutely have to have from Walmart or from Dollar General. But even that will be temporary because sooner or later the Chinese will realize that we are our dollars are way more important to them than their yuan is to us. I think it's yuan. Is it yuan?
Is it yen?
I think so.
Yeah. Yin, yang, whatever.
Well,
don't get it wrong.
You know why there's
JP's the funny.
You know why there's no phone books in China, don't you? They're all the wrong number.
Okay. All right. You seriously gave him a laugh track for that?
Applause. He's used it too many times. It's overdone.
So
for you maybe, but a lot of people don't hear that stuff. Ow.
So
okay, play that other thing. I don't care. Play the other thing, but the lug nuts. There you go.
Don't waste our time on that.
Oh, never mind.
So
never mind. We're not going to blow him off.
So the point of it is that yes, we will probably see some fluctuations in the market, but as a general rule, all of these countries, they really have no choice because we are their biggest trading partner. And let's face it,
we got to try to make it so it doesn't do them too much damage. But we've been taken for a long time here.
But let's think about how that works.
Yeah, okay.
Is the tariff goes to the government, not to that manufacturer. So even if you were worried about the Nike,
you're talking about the CCP.
Yeah. Well, even if you were worried about the Nike tennis shoe manufacturer in China and their slave labor employees that are getting 10 cents an hour or whatever, even if that's what you were worried about with tariffs, the reality is that tariff that gets charged goes to the government.
Yes.
Right?
Okay. Other than Dave Weinbaum Show, where can people find you and contribute?
So right now you can find me at the Capitol because that's my job. But I'm on Facebook. But you will be getting updates soon.
Good.
I'm perhaps going to maybe explore the idea of running for another office.
Which is what?
Well, I usually don't like saying those things when I'm actively voting on something, but it's probably a Senate.
Yeah, you're going to run for Senate. I knew this.
Okay.
Okay, you're pretending like it's something.
All right. Well, hey, I'm announcing it here then.
All right. Oh, yay! Don Mayhew is running for Senate of Missouri.
No.
All righty.
Well, I actually can't say that exactly
Oh, well, I said
until
it,
I
so what?
actually, do it
Okay.
officially, right?
One great thing about the Ottoman Empire, everybody got to put their feet up.
The Ottoman.
He's a little slow.
Oh my goodness.
He's going to be a senator. He's a little slow.
Did we? Well,
I got 30 seconds.
What? Okay.
I don't know what else to do, but I thought I'd throw that out there, and you can.
Yeah.
You got a joke? Come on, quick.
So that was the reason why I was limited to only 30 minutes today. So it's because.
Well, you took. I can't. I don't have time to talk. I got to talk to my people out there.
All right.
Hey, thank you so much for listening. Thank you for pushing the show. And I'll be back Thursday with another edition of the Dave Weinbaum Show. Have a great weekend.